Every good hot dog needs to be peeled.
Why is there a banana coming out? Why is there a hot dog inside the banana peel, sir?
Huh? Kaboom.
Anyways, boys, we're gonna watch this together. We're gonna watch this. This is called a deep dive into the violent unraveling of pirate software from industry icon to glorified local. Yes.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And that phrase is
True.
perfect to describe when a massive content creator gets into controversy bad enough to end their career. But when it comes to pirate software, he wasn't just a big content creator. He was someone who managed to blow up from 13,000 subscribers all the way to 1.1 million in less than 2 months.
That's insane. See, whenever I see creators that are like a very large size for a long time, like Pirate has been around since before I even became a VTuber. So I always wonder, like, what made this happen, you know? Were they just here for many years and just grinded? Or did they pop off from something, right? That is such a quick pop off.
Taking over the YouTube Shorts algorithm at some point, and even making over $50,000 in one Twitch stream.
That's crazy. So is he just like one of the first people to capitalize on Shorts? That's crazy.
However, he also managed to lose all of that just as fast. His actions didn't just make him unlikable, but it exposed him, both as a brand and as a person, making people realize that they had subscribed to him over lies or exaggerations, and that he never showed his true self until now. You've no doubt somehow heard about this already. So many people are talking about him because it's that much of a crazy story, and so I thought of making a video going back to the first ever incident and how it led us here today. So without further ado, let's do this.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right, so the first
curious.
question to even ask here is, where the hell did Pirate Software even come from? Well, he created his channel in 2016. And while his channel would
Holy, 2016. 10 years, Jesus.
grow over the years, it would do so in a very slow manner, reaching 13,000 subscribers after 7 years. But then, at the end of October 2023, he would take a decision that would change his life forever. And that would be uploading highlights of his Twitch streams as YouTube Shorts. These were such an incredible success that for a while they took
Holy shit. 18 million views, 20 million views. All of these are in the millions.
over the YouTube Shorts algorithm. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if a huge portion of you watching this video right now came across these shorts on your own time. The views speak for themselves, with tens of millions of people being exposed to his channel for the first time and liking it. But how did he manage to do that when so many others couldn't? Well,
Yeah,
many
that's
different
what I'm
shorts
wondering.
actually share the same factors. All you have to do is just watch one to understand the appeal. This short right here, titled Social Engineering, has every single one of these factors combined. So let's take a look at it and then I'll explain. Watch.
So when I worked at Blizzard, I had to do a social engineering task where I had to hit customer support, and I had to get 50 questions answered. And let me tell you, I got my questions answered. I shouldn't have. That was the problem. They're not supposed to answer those. And one of the things that I found that was really interesting is people that had been there for 1 year were really, really hard to trick. But people that had been there for 5 years were really easy to trick.
So is it the combination? This is just my guess. My guess is that it's the combination of like, I know something that you don't. So it's like that somebody's learning something with the visual aid, with the fact that he mentioned that he works at Blizzard, so people take him more seriously for his advice, and the fact that it's easy to follow. Is that what it is? This is my guess.
What have we learned? We've learned that training is the issue. Everybody that actually worked at the company got training in their first year, and then they never got training again. So they became complacent, exactly. The director of CS came, and he said, I want the names. And I said, I'm not giving you the names. You're just going to fire those people. And he goes, I'm going to go to your boss. I was like, do it. My boss is like, you got the names? I was like, yeah. And he goes, you going to give them to him? And I was like, no. And he goes, he's not going to give you the names, bud. And then I sat down and was like, look, I'm not giving you the names, because if I did, you'd fire all of these people that are your best employees, the ones that have been here the longest. And in 4 years, you will have the exact same problem with the people that are newbies right now. The issue is not the employees, it's your training regimen. I sat down with him, we created a new 6-month training regimen, and guess what? I went back about a year later, did the same thing. All those people passed with flying colors. Not a single one of them answered my questions.
So my other thing I'm guessing is he kind of is playing the hero here, right? I don't know if this is his gimmick that he reuses, but he's making it sound like he was in a corpo world where they were going to discard all of these people until he convinced them otherwise. So in this scenario, right, if you believe everything that's being said, you could say that he's the person that cares about the people. Yeah. Like, but what I'm saying is, without knowing anything else about him, if you saw this, right? That would be the takeaway, is that he's being the hero that cares about all these people that they were gonna lose their jobs otherwise, right?
Well, there you have it. The deep voice, with the confidence and eloquence in his speech, as well as the whiteboard he was drawing on at the bottom that was meant to soothe any attention span issues Gen Z might have, was the perfect combination.
I didn't even think about it that way. So also his voice being low, confident, and assured of himself. And then the visual aid. So he's got like the older audience because he's easy to listen to, and he's got the younger audience because they could follow along by having the visual aid.
Additionally, this story made him out to be a genius, but not just any genius, a noble genius who saved 8 employees from losing their jobs by standing up to the evil boss. And where did that boss work? At some unknown company? No, he worked at the grand, prestigious video game company, Blizzard Entertainment. Yes, that's right. This guy right here, talking in such an amazing, eloquent tone, worked at Blizzard Entertainment. And that's something he would make sure to mention any chance he got.
When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment.
Anyway,
yeah, when I first came across him, that's the only thing I knew about him. I actually found out about him because I thought it was funny that his dad was in the South Park episode. Unironically, I'm like, bro, this guy's dad was in the World of Warcraft. Like, that was the guy they were making fun of. That's hilarious. And that's how I found him.
Get back to that later in the video, but for now, all you have to understand is that these shorts were extremely effective. Pirate Software had gone from 13,000 subscribers to 1 million before the year even ended. That's 2 months, going from 13,000 to 1.1 million. And over time, his shorts have racked up almost 2.3 billion views.
That is seriously insane. Like, you gotta admit, if this was his idea, this was smart. Like, he understands the assignment. He understands the viewer a little bit here, right?
A massive, astounding achievement in such a short amount of time. But YouTube wasn't the only platform that benefited. I mean, these shorts were highlights from his streams, so of course people went to those streams to see the real thing live. And so his Twitch channel went from 400 concurrent viewers to thousands. And within barely 3 months, he was at over 8,000 concurrent viewers. That's top.
See, that's insane. Hoo-wee!
Top 1% of the top 1%. Now look, of course you might think, well, there are bigger streamers out there, of course. Yes. But even those streamers must have gotten envious sometimes because of how loyal and supportive Pirate Software's community was. On December 2023, he would beat Twitch's hype train record. When enough people donate bits or gift subs, the hype train is activated, starting at level 1. While that's happening, a timer starts counting down to 0. If more people donate, the timer resets and they get to level 2. Pirate Software's community had gotten him to level 55, and they discovered together that level 55 was actually the cap. No one had ever reached a hype train level this high on the entire platform.
That was the other time I heard of him as well. Like, I never actually knew what the cap was for a hype train until I saw this tweet. That's crazy. All the way up to 55.
Had gotten over 7,000 subs and 1.8 million bits. If you don't know what this means, he had essentially made $50,000 in one stream.
How much of that does he keep though? Is that with the split that Twitch takes half of it? Oh yeah, isn't he the reason also that VTubers started trying to do bit trains instead of just sub trains? Wasn't that like part of why? I could be wrong, but I saw a lot of VTubers after this like try to do hype trains and stuff. Instead of doing subathons, they did bitathons. And I thought that it was at least probably or most likely due to seeing this.
This guy's community was so unstoppable that it made everyone else be aware of his existence. So much so that he actually was able to get nominated to the Streamer Awards in December of 2023. He was barely getting viral. But this is just how influential he was in such a short span of time. But
yeah, that's crazy. That's not even a lot, chat. If that's not a lot, then you know, you can give that over to me. You can give me that small amount. Yeah, I'll take that 50,000, you know. Just a small, guys, can I just have a small, measly, maximum level hype train? Yeah, sharing is caring, boys.
What I want you to understand here is that the Streamer Awards actually have way bigger streamers than Pirate Software in other category nominations. For example, like XQC or Kai Cenat. These streamers would of course send their own communities to go vote for them on the website. And they did so with no issues. But when Pirate Software sent his community to vote for him, they crashed the fucking website.
This is insane. Like, that's crazy. I did not realize this happened. Like, how does somebody just go this high up? Like, is it all shorts?
No other content creator had even come close to crashing the website. So it goes without saying that he won the Best Software and Game Development Streamer Award in 2023. He wasn't just absolutely killing it, the guy was speedrunning being a content creator, getting to 1 million subs, getting hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitch, winning streamer awards, and beating records when it came to donations on Twitch. So of course, I say this with no exaggeration, the sky was the limit and the guy was barely getting started. If he could achieve that in just a couple of months, what could he achieve in years?
Yes, that is very true.
Would he become a legend? Achieve stardom? Either way, he was unstoppable until he wasn't. And he had no one to blame but himself. The first incident that would begin his cataclysmic downfall was, in the most ironic way possible, in a World of Warcraft dungeon. Yes, Blizzard Entertainment's biggest game of all time.
What's crazy is, okay, I actually feel like it's probably before then, right? When I watched, I think there's more than one Blizzard debacle, right? But I know I watched this and I thought it was kind of crummy, but the thing I found out that was the most interesting is there was a lot of people, right? Regardless of whether they felt he was in the wrong or not, there was a lot of people who like unanimously agreed that he never takes blame outside of this incident. Like, there was people who were like, no, this is like, you never take blame. So I feel like this was already, like, there was already tensions, and this is just where they overboiled, if it makes sense. But, like, this is not, like, this might have been his first public offense where, like, everyone saw him do something that they didn't like. But this is not the first time he's done this, because people were already voicing that he has a reputation for not taking blame at this point. At least that's what I noticed.
And it would become his worst nightmare. Guys, I don't think World of Warcraft needs any introduction, okay? It came out in 2004 and revolutionized gaming forever. Many games tried to copy it, many games tried to compete with it, they all died, and this game is still alive today in 2025. Now,
yeah, nostalgia is a really strong drug.
Throughout the years, it has received many different expansions, 9 in total. And while they would add more content, quests, story, sometimes new races, sometimes new classes, some of them would also permanently alter the game's fundamental mechanics. In other words, the game that you're playing now in 2025 is vastly different from the game that you would have played on release day. One could even go as far as saying that they're completely different games at this point. Seeing that so many people's most meaningful gaming experience while they were growing up was World of Warcraft, a lot of them yearned for nostalgia. A lot of them wanted to relive those days when all they had to do was worry about mechanics from 10 or even 15 years ago. This would result.
Yeah. This is exactly why these games are still alive, even though they like refuse to like actually, you know, they're only alive as long as the nostalgia lives, is how I feel about WoW.
And the rise of WoW private servers. Unofficial servers ran by fans in which they would use old versions of the game. At some point, Blizzard would start taking down some of the most popular private servers and would cause community outrage, with many asking Blizzard directly, well, why are you going to take them down, seeing that there's demand for them if you're not going to make one of your own? And so they took their sweet time, but eventually, in the year 2019, they would launch World of Warcraft Classic, bringing back World of Warcraft exactly how it was back during patch 1.12.1 of September 2006, before the launch of its first ever expansion. It would run in parallel to the normal World of Warcraft of today and would
Yep, this is what resuscitated WoW. Like, if current WoW was capitalizing on nostalgia, classic WoW was like double and tripling down on that, you know? Which is gonna work, but I think the end of WoW will eventually happen when there's just you know, the boomer generation that understands WoW, you know, is gone. I feel like WoW will be gone if they never make like a new game or never change the way things are.
slowly re-release its expansions, allowing people to relive them once more. In the summer of 2023, World of Warcraft Classic would release the Hardcore Realms game mode. These are separate servers from normal ones in which you can create a new character, but if you die, you lose that character forever. Hence why.
By the way, I feel like this is the dumbest game mode. Maybe that's a hot take, but like, this is dumb. You're gonna have a hardcore mode in an MMO. Everything about an MMO is not hardcore. Like, everything about how this game is set up is not to be played this way. So, like, the second I saw this, I was like, there's going to be a lot of rage clips. That's going to be the entirety of how this is popular, by the way. And I still find this to be true, right? But anytime I heard about this, it was literally from somebody crashing out. That was the only time I like, saw World of Warcraft, like, hardcore trending.
Why it was called Hardcore. And this is where Sodapoppin comes in, a streamer that has been streaming for over a decade now. In his early days, he was a popular World of Warcraft streamer, and when he saw the announcement of World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, he would create a hardcore streamer guild in October 2023, in which he and a bunch of other big streamers would try their best to level up their character to level 60 without dying, and eventually also try to do endgame content.
I didn't realize Sodapoppin created OnlyFans. Now I'm getting the lore.
It was a big success, so at the end of 2024, he decided to launch Season 2. This time, better and bigger than ever before. The amount of streamers that participated in this Season 2 was insane. There are streamers here who had never even played World of Warcraft, that were huge in games that they played. Some were League of Legends pros, some were Counter-Strike pros. I mean, the list went on. It was an astounding amount of people. And of course...
And by the way, what this also does is it makes WoW look more popular than it is. And it also just makes WoW more popular than it is. WoW on its own was already popping off more than before because Classic came out, so people are coming back out of nostalgia. But now everyone on Twitch is covering it and is like, you know, intermingling with each other. So there's so many more, like the category on Twitch is bigger. The amount of streams and clips is bigger. The amount it's being talked about is bigger. And the amount of viewers that are coming across it being played is bigger. And probably the amount of people just playing the game is bigger because now, like, the benefit of a viewer outside of, like, the streamers that are playing it is, like, they might see their streamer in-game. So it's kind of literally, you know, putting some gas back into the game.
Of course, one of the many big streamers that had joined OnlyFans was none other than piratesoftware. Seeing that he had built such a massive influence over the year of 2024, adding him to the guild was seen as a net positive. It was seen as a good thing, until one day, it wasn't. The maximum level you could reach in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore was level 60, and getting there, just by itself, is already an ordeal that lasts dozens of hours and sees you try your best to not die. Now,
yes, getting to end level in Classic WoW is a trek. It takes forever. And I'm gonna say it gets boring when you get higher levels because you are just grinding. You are just grinding, you are just killing mobs of enemies, you know. Like, those last few levels especially are just like paint drawing.
Dire Maul is a dungeon that you can only access if you're level 58 at the minimum, and its appeal is the amount of great gear that it drops. Dungeons are typically ran by 5 people, so piratesoftware and 4 other streamers decided to take this on in order to get better gear. Now usually, when you're in a dungeon or a raid, there's always a team leader, someone who calls the shots. It's a very stressful role, especially in a raid when you're managing a couple dozen people, and it's even crazier in hardcore World of Warcraft because whatever you decide might affect the accounts of the people playing. One wrong move and they lose dozens of hours of progress. And it's
You can see how this already is a format that is going to result in people arguing if you've ever played League of Legends because now these other people could influence you losing all your progress that you have done for weeks. Not just in a 30-minute game, but now it's like you lost hours of playtime. You lost all your progress. And also potentially the group you're going with, you know, isn't gonna want to restart another thing after losing that much. So like all of that fun you're having in the game you're having, all the memories you built, like those are also just set on fire.
It's all on you. I'm saying this because I want you to bear in mind that Pirate Software is not the group leader here. But as silly as this sounds, the beginning of Pirate Software's downfall was because of this dungeon and what you're about to see here.
Oh,
the YouTuber
man.
Dev, otherwise known as Short Fat Otaku, great name by the way, combined the perspectives of everyone who was streaming in the dungeon minus one person. One of
WW username. So I only heard about this incident. I had never heard about it before until I watched the Ackman's video. I didn't even know there was previous WoW footage before the big one that I think like Asmongold and a couple other streamers like dissected. I didn't even know about this one. So and I didn't realize until watching this right now that this was way before then. I didn't know this was before the other WoW run that was like super popular that he people were saying he screwed up.
One of them was Pirate Software on
Oh
the
my
top
God.
right. As you're watching this, you're going to hear the team leader say, run. In World of Warcraft dungeons or raids, this means retreat, but help each other retreat. Not every man for himself. Don't
Oh, really? I was gonna say, usually they say like leave, right? Is there another word they tend to use? I feel like it's leave or get out. That's a big interpretation. So you could say that, right? But all right, let devil's advocate again, chat. I don't think so, actually. And I'm somebody who tries to look at things with nuance. Now, the reason I think why, all right, is that the only other thing is the context is they're max level here or close to it, right? They're in Dire Maul, which means these people have been running together for hours. It'd be one thing if this was their first dungeon together and the first time they spoke together. But the thing is I figure by now, they probably know the language and what it means from other people, right? Like they have to know the lingo and what leave means, what run means, right? So I figure the only thing is you could say like, oh, run is unclear. Maybe he didn't know the difference. But I also feel like I don't know if I could believe that or give him the benefit of the doubt when if you're playing Dire Maul, you've been playing with these people for hours. Like, this is also not the first dungeon you're running. You have to have decent gear to get in here. You gotta be pretty well geared up in order to even take this on in Classic WoW. This is a hard dungeon. It's huge. So there's no way he's never worked with these people and heard how they talk. That's my only, like, kind of thing there.
care about your teammates. You're meant to stick around, try your best to outmaneuver the enemies while making sure your teammates also make it out with you. But as you might guess, that's not what happened here at all. Watch.
God damn it.
Run.
Just run. Guitar, you dummy.
All right, so he said run. The team tries their best to make sure that they all get out together.
Massives. No.
Look at Pirate Software.
Aussie, are you fine?
No, you could totally see that he's completely doing self-preservation and the other people are looking behind them to see if their friends need help. Look.
Together.
Massives. No.
Look at Pirate Software.
Aussie, are you fine? Any grenades, anything?
You can just
Heal him.
Yeah, you just heal me. Just come back a little bit.
Look, he's not even looking behind to see if his team members need help.
Boss is on me, sitting bear form.
Snuppy, just run.
I can help a lot. Yeah.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
Like, look at these guys. They're clearly out of range of the enemy. Also, let me look at his, is his health bar on screen? I can't see his health bar. That would help too. Like, I know he's a mage, so you do have to be further away than other people. He had 0 mana, but I believe full HP. Like, I can't see the bottom here. It looks like he has Frost Barrier, but either way, right? I've played a little bit of mage. I'm not a pro player, but he's clearly, like, he's around the corner, which means he's not even an eyesight to help. You see what I'm saying? Like, he leaves, like, line of sight.
Run.
I can help a lot. Yeah.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look
is
at my mana.
savageable. Come
Innervate
on,
you?
man.
Kill
So his
I would, by the way, let's say he does make a mistake here. I would just be like, my bad, I'm coming back. I'm on my way back. My bad, I thought we were leaving.
teammate told him, Pirate, why are you walking, bro? This is salvageable. Come on, man. He doesn't care. He keeps running all by himself.
Just kill the master.
Innervate
the healer. Kill.
Like, this is where you salvage it, by the way. This is where you go, but you said to leave. I thought that meant to actually leave. Like, clearly you could salvage this even. You could just be like, you know, I thought you meant to leave. I'm on my, like, just, you could do a U-turn.
Kill the mastiffs. We got this. In the sense of
Or something?
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the Mastiffs. One shot. Okay, we
More
pulled
than
another
more on the way,
pass
more on the
from
way.
now. The Mastiffs can be Ice Novas.
Now we're gonna wait.
Musara?
Oh.
Okay, get out, get out.
Run, run.
Evocation's on cooldown, man.
I can taunt last
How much mana is
moment
ice?
as well.
There's no that much mana.
You have a boss in you, you called run.
Getting slowed.
Fuck. Wait,
Anything for
Why do you say that? Why does he say that right here? They're clearly trying to salvage it. They're clearly like high strung right now, right? Stress is on the table. And bro just gives him a middle finger in the middle of it. Like they know you're already gone and you're not helping. Why do you gotta be like, yeah, well, your call was bad. Yes, we heard you.
You have a boss in
Sorry.
you, you called run.
getting slowed.
Why are you saying that right here? They're clearly trying to solve it right now. Like doing this, saying this right here is like clearly you're going to antagonize people while they're in the middle of a stressful situation. All right? Like right now you're just doubling down saying like, oh, well, you said run, so it's your fault. In the middle of them trying to fix it regardless, this is the wrong time to say that. You could say that after they're done. You could talk after they're done, but they're in the middle of doing something. Like I would be like, you shut the there is high stress stakes right now. You can argue with shoulda, coulda, woulda, it already happened.
fuck. Wait,
Anything for me?
Stop it. Oh,
I
no.
don't think I cannot stun him. Also,
No,
good.
just run out.
So, that sounded like a massive fuck up, didn't it?
Yes, it did, short fat otaku. Bear in mind, Pirate Software's excuse here was, I have no mana, I can't help you, when he clearly had 2 items in his inventory that could bring back up his mana. He could have totally helped and saved his 2 teammates that ended up dying.
You know what's crazy, guys? I also feel like they would have probably accepted it. They would have been mad, right? But I actually feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, they would have forgiven this. If he would have just said, you know what, I forgot. I totally forgot I had mana gems in my pocket. By the way, they probably would have been pissed at that and been like, yo, you shouldn't have left, and I was still me, but they probably would have let it go. They probably would have been like,
losing all their progress. This was a disaster. One of his teammates, Yamato, on the left here, confronted him and was asking him what happened, like what's going on? And this was what Pirate Software had to say right after the fact.
You instantly ran. You didn't even look
As much
back.
as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
I'm not angry at all.
You
I'm not angry at all.
overpulled 2 packs.
he's talking over them right now. I have a bachelor's degree in communication, so I'm about to nerd out and be upset with how this was handled because there's so many ways that things can be solved if people just listen and people talk to each other and not over each other, and they all have the goal of remedying the solution, like the situation. And clearly all they're doing is trying to air their grievances with what happened. And what he is doing is just literally trying to, like, he is talking down to them. He's so condescending right now. His tone is so bad.
Because you're angry right now. Of course I ran.
I'm not angry at all.
You
I'm not angry at all.
overpulled 2 packs. You overpulled 2 packs and a boss. I had 1,400 mana left. I had to spend all of that mana to try and put it on Blizzard to save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't paying attention to party resources. You overpulled.
Bro, you could say the same thing he is saying, right? And still be wrong, but could have not said it in this. How do I put this? You know what? I'm just going to say it. He could have said this in a less assholey way. Isn't that kind of his standard tone, though? Yeah, that's a problem. You can't just be like, yeah, but my standard tone is always, like, I'm always condescending. You got to learn to change your tone, because if this tone is aggressive in all of your situations, it is going to piss people off. Like, let's say you're right. Let's say he was right in this situation. There's nothing he could have done. I'm telling you, his tone could have made them hear him out. But his tone is, you did everything wrong. I did everything right. And you don't understand anything. So let me tell you how it went, because obviously you're not intelligent enough to know. That's what it is. That's what he's communicating with his tone alone. I'm telling you, this tone matters. As much as people don't like to say, like, oh, emotion shouldn't be in an argument. Him disregarding their emotions entirely is part of the problem, more than just the problem itself.
Save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't paying attention to party resources. You overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me.
By the way he could have said this is, I don't know what I could have done here. These are the things that, here was my problems. Like, let's go rewatch the footage together, like the footage together. I don't know what I could have done here. I did this, 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 and this. You had this, 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 and that. And so I don't know what I could have done for you here. What would you have wanted me to do? I don't know what I could have done here, right? That's how you say it in a way that's not condescending, right? You tell people, listen, I don't know what I could have done. I took all of these things into mind because I've played this game for a really long time. Like the way he says, what am I supposed to do for you? You could have literally said that in an actual question. Like, I'm not sure what I could have done. What would you have wanted me to do? And I feel like that approach would have been so much better, even if he's not admitting fault. But it's like he's at a point where you can tell he's not even willing to consider being at fault. So it's like you're talking to a brick wall.
So 2 of his teammates pretty much lost everything. He very clearly ran on his own when he could have just said, you know what, look, yes, I panicked, I screwed up, my bad, sorry. But he instead decides to blame his entire team except for himself. It was your guys' fault for pulling in the enemies.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Is he goes to everyone like, okay, now that the mission's over, you're wrong for this, you're wrong for that, you're wrong for that. And I'm not wrong for any of it because trust me, bro. Yeah, everyone is wrong but me. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk back.
It was your guys' fault for calling run in the middle of a fight. It was your guys' fault for this and that. This was very weird behavior. I mean, this is just a game. And he was acting like if he apologized, he would be committing a cardinal sin or something.
Yeah, that's the other thing is you could tell someone's prideful when they can't even apologize. Like, they can't even look for criticism, okay? So let's say, like I said before, let's say I don't know what I did wrong. And I feel like people are calling me out and I don't see anything I'm doing wrong. And now I'm frustrated, like I'm being called out, but I did everything I possibly know. Then you just say that. You just say that. You say like, I actually don't, like, what could I possibly do? Because these are the things that I had against me. If I stayed, what would you have liked me to do? If I turned around, what would have, you know what I mean? You just ask them, basically. Instead of just determining that you know everything, you just ask.
It made his teammates very uncomfortable to the point where the guild leader had to step in. Now, Sodapoppin was initially the guild leader, but then, unexpectedly, he dueled Tyler1, who had leveled up to level 60 and became a very important member of the guild, in a fight that would determine who the new guild master would be. What no one was expecting, though, was that Tyler1 would beat Sodapoppin, becoming the guild master. Seeing that this was becoming a big guild issue, he had to step in and brought both Yamato and Pirate Software into a call in order to squash the beef once and for all.
Yeah, by the way, you gotta do this because if you have a like stupid emotional tensions or disagreements in a team-based game that are now rolling over to if you play new players, you gotta squash it. You gotta squash it because otherwise there's gonna be unresolved like beef that's going to come out, like it's going to seep out in other times you play the game.
The result? A catastrophe. Watch.
What do you want, man?
Let me say it again.
He already said his piece.
Pirate.
Go on.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear God.
I want to speak to him because I didn't.
He said, oh dear God. Look at the way that look at his, okay. Also a few days before this happened, Pirate boosted about how as a mage you control the dungeon and how he would save the run. Oof.
Speak to him correctly. I said it again. We all did mistakes, bro. Like I didn't say, we are just blaming you. It's about the.
By the way, look, the guy that is in the call right now is doing something called he's admitting fault. Do you want to know why he's doing that? Because he wants to make sure, this guy in the call wants to make sure that because they're having the call and because he just said, dear God, and sounds uninterested, the guy talking to him in the call immediately wants to make it known that he's not being attacked and that he is not the only one who's made a mistake. So he's already pre-considering Pirate Software's feelings before they talk about anything. Do you see what I'm saying?
Zero accountability is what makes us so mad.
There's no zero accountability, dude. Everyone can do something better.
No,
but when you open up and you yell over another person
listen,
like you were doing
can I
earlier,
speak?
Yeah. Do you hear him? He's like, listen, can I speak? That is the polite way of saying, like, I want to finish a thought really badly about what I was saying before you disregard it.
nah, I'm good.
You.
See ya.
See what I mean? And I feel like this is a problem because even if he was in the right, the way this guy's approaching the conversation is not an attack. You know what I mean? He clearly considers that Pirate might be called out in this conversation. So the guy in here doesn't seem ill-intended.
I'm not doing that shit again with him. Nah, he did it the first time. I'm not doing it a second one.
And this is attacking.
Not interested.
This is so weird. Yamato was being sure as possible here, saying, listen, this was all our fault. We're not blaming you. We just want you to admit, just like we've admitted, that we all screwed up, and he couldn't even say that, leaving the call like an immature, disrespectful baby as Yamato was talking. This not only rubbed his dungeon teammates the wrong way, it rubbed the entire OnlyFans guild as well as the viewers the wrong way.
And this is what I mean, right? It's like, if you know this is going on and you feel like there is context missing, then why not ever address it?
Criticism was mounting. Pirate Software was for the first time confronting massive controversy coming his way. At any point in time, he could have just simply apologized and moved on. Instead, he only chose to double down, playing the victim and saying that other streamers and OnlyFans just want to cause problems with him for no reason whatsoever.
Content is causing drama and problems. There's a lot of streamers actually in this guild that want to cause problems specifically with me, and have even stated so publicly on their Twitch, saying that they want to have a fight with me for content. That's not content. That's dog shit.
If this actually did happen, that's bad. Yeah, these people aren't worth listening to.
Ridiculous. Keep it. Not going to be a part of it.
I mean, seriously, why would people just want to attack you unprovoked
Yeah, that makes
for no
no
reason
sense.
whatsoever?
Because there's weirdos on Twitter, dude. I would believe it. Have you guys seen people on Twitter randomly go at me for no reason? There is a lot of people that don't touch grass. Like, I could believe this is a fact. Also, the fact that he's getting, like, he's so much bigger, right? He's a bigger streamer, so just multiply that for the amount of, like, dummies that know of his existence, that have access to the internet.
What a cruel world we live in. The bulk of these events would unfold from January 10th to January 12th, 2025. By that time, Pirate Software would have received so much criticism, so much hate, that he felt compelled to post a long tweet explaining his point of view on Twitter, saying, "To those trying to character assassinate me online for a bad pull in Dire Maul WoW hardcore, this is hardcore WoW and a lot is on the line when you step foot into a dungeon. Here is a light breakdown of the last 24 hours. Our party went the wrong way and overpulled multiple packs with the boss. The shot caller made the call to run, then went back on that call. During the run out, another pack was pulled as we had opted to skip it previously, which is never a good thing. Communication was completely broken throughout this, and it was
I don't think this is a good format. So if people don't believe what you're saying, you should make a video. Nobody's gonna want to read your, like, very long, like, freaking essay on the internet. If they already feel you're in bad faith, you're gonna need to show proof, slow down the footage, right? And show what you're talking about. Because the average user is gonna be like, I'm not reading all that.
Time failing the dungeon. Everyone played poorly, and 2 people ultimately lost their characters for it. Each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. I have never once said I was perfect in my play, nor that I was a god gamer. I'm just an ex-Blizzard employee that has played Mage for a long time.
I feel like if he said this out loud, it would be so good. If he said this out loud, so many people would hear it. I truly think that.
Pin that on a single person is absurd at best, and if you're calling for death and cancellation over it, you're too invested in this content in a very unhealthy way. If you're a creator engaging in this kind of behavior, then eventually your content wave will end, but the relationships you've sullied will be permanent. Hope it was worth it for you. To those trying to defend me, don't worry about it. This too.
It's weird how he's like, so the average person would say, like, I get that you guys, you know, are criticizing me, blah, blah, blah. But like, I feel a little stressed out from all of these people that are taking it too far, right? Oh, but instead he's like, I wanted to let you know that the people that are threatening my well-being, he's addressing the crazy people with sanity, even though they never had any. Like, he's saying, if you're calling for my death and cancellation, you're too invested in an unhealthy way. Like, they're gonna be listening to the psychologist tell them that they're unhinged.
If you're a creator engaging in this kind of
By the way, if you're wishing for my imminent demise
behavior, then eventually your content wave will end, but the relationships you've sullied will be permanent. Hope it was worth it for you. To those trying to defend me,
bro, the thing that kills me is they're 100% not reading all this. The people that act like this have no brain cells, and you're not pulling a gotcha on them. They did not even read.
Don't worry about it. This too shall pass. Do not attack anyone else on my behalf. I've always hated that kind of behavior. I have no intention of stopping making things or not doing stuff as I have already been. Those who were banned will stay so. I've never liked that kind of knee-jerk reaction behavior in our community before, and I will not be changing that now. For those that don't understand why they will stay banned, we had a 10-hour-long hate raid over it live on Twitch. We had to ban nearly 4,000 accounts across all platforms, and our moderators received death threats regularly throughout it all. People called for me to be killed both in-game and out of game. They tried to get me banned from Twitch, the guild, and WoW. They tried to make disparaging comments about our ferret rescue or that we somehow hurt animals. They tried to spread rumors saying I was convicted of felonies and many.
By the way, I heard of this and this broke my heart. There are some people in the comment sections from the other times I have covered Pirate that say that he deserves it still, or like, but what if he's lying? What if he's lying about like threats sent to his ferret rescue? I'm like, I'm not about to downplay actual problematic behavior. Like, you can't be serious. Like, somehow, if actual detrimental, like, horrible people don't exist, it downplays the actual criticism that exists. Like, both can't coexist at the same time. So, just letting you guys know, like, no, people who are doing this only hurt the thing that they are trying to prove or hold someone accountable for. You don't need to somehow disregard the actual crazy people in order to allege valid criticism. They can both exist. You could say, you know what, that's horrible. We don't stand with those people. My criticism still stands.
Other things. The internet hate machine will not defeat me or the community that supports me. See you in WoW Hardcore tomorrow. So this was posted on January 13th, 2025. And while he did admit that everyone in the group made mistakes, including himself, it truly didn't feel genuine. It seemed like it was absolutely impossible for him to just say, I'm sorry, I misplayed. He just couldn't do it.
Yeah, they're like, in order to take any sort of fault, which he kind of did in the middle, he had to preface like the longest essay, and 9 out of 10 of it was everyone else's fault. And like one section, I think he says like, I may not be perfect. You know, it's like, bro, you're double, triple thinking it. It's, you literally could be done with it if you just say like, it's just so crazy how far people will go without just saying sorry. Like, why is that so hard, brother?
Someone pointed that out, saying, where's the I messed up? And Pirate Software said, apparently you have no idea how to read. Hope this helps.
That's what I said. I said the only part where he kind of takes accountability is the small part in the middle, right? Everyone in this group made mistakes, including myself. But he says it in such a, well, we all made mistakes. Let me outline each individual one from the other people. Like, the fact that you said it this way is like a very roundabout way of taking blame, you know?
Highlighting the paragraph in which he said each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. Again, it was worded in a disingenuous way. He just couldn't take individual accountability here, no matter what. The top comment—
yeah, that's what it is. It's the individual accountability.
Was a WoW streamer known by Joker D saying, just take the L, it's not that hard, to which Pirate Software said, hope this was worth it for you. So overall, this entire response didn't really help him at all. And even if it did, he would single-handedly ruin any progress it might have had in the coming days. He would double down, triple down, quadruple down, quintuple down, and eventually sextuple down, only to call OnlyFans a content guild built on hate.
Yeah, this is the other problem, right? Let's say he feels like he's not in the wrong. The way he addresses everything and treats everyone else is a net negative. You know what I mean? And then also going and treating everyone else like this. There's so many people in this guild or in this group of people that aren't the group he was with or have no like direct connection to the arguments he's having. And he's just putting them on blast. Like, just random people who weren't here and weren't arguing. Like, nope, they all suck. The entirety of it. They're all hate-filled.
And a lot of it was from a rogue that was bitching the entire time about every goddamn thing that was going on except for his own play. But the mage is the one at fault because the mage is the hero class and the mage has to do everything perfectly. Everyone in that played badly. The druid butt-pulled an extra pack on the way out. The tank chose to take us into a bad route through the entirety of the dungeon, pulled 2 packs and the boss at the same time. I, as the mage, went into that fight with 40% mana, tried to use my resources, used them poorly, and got myself out when the call was made to run, which, by the way, was made by them as well. Everyone played badly. In fact, the only person who didn't was the healer. And I explained that in the Twitter post, but no one wants to hear that shit because they want it to be a double down, a triple down, a quadruple down.
No, the reason is that the format you used was bad. Nobody's gonna read a twit longer. Like, a lot of people who watch clips are gonna watch them because they're easy to find, they're easy to share. All right? You should know this because you are the shorts god. That is how you got relevant. Like, why did you choose to address everything with a Twitter, like, essay? That is, like, the least digestible format.
They want to have a villain. They want to have an enemy. They want to fight that shit into the ground. They want to send death threats to people over it. Because
there are people like this, okay? But they are not everyone. And just because people are doing this doesn't suddenly mean that every person who alleges a criticism is belittled down to being crazy for having it.
Damn insane. Because this guild has turned into a content guild built on hate, not a content guild built on experiences. Because they're freaking monsters, dude.
It's just crazy how we got to this point and we're not even halfway through this drama, and all he had to really realistically do was look at the camera and say, you know what, I'm sorry. We all misplayed, yes, but I screwed up by running away the way I did. I had 2 items that could have restored my mana so I could help the 2 people who died, but I just simply panicked and ran away. And so even though we all misplayed, I just want to say I'm sorry for my play. But no,
that would have been literally perfect. That is literally perfect because he's saying other people made mistakes and he's taking accountability directly for his own mistake.
It's too hard for him. Guys, he worked at Blizzard, and Blizzard employees simply don't make mistakes. That's a given. As Pirate Software was too busy playing the victim, a clip of the streamer Lucari surfaced in which he was doing a dungeon with Pirate Software. You see, Lucari is someone who had never played World of Warcraft up until this point. He was playing a mage just like Pirate, but he was kind of having a hard time keeping up with everything going on. Here's how Pirate treated him. I'm sure you can tell from the title. Pirate Software bullying a totally new player to the game. Pathetic, dude. Watch.
You basically have to evocate to get your mana back for the next pull. Ugh.
Reminded me, sorry, I don't play the game, so I forgot. If you remind me, I can help you out real quick.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Jen. If only someone else would cast Arcane.
That was a little rude. He literally said, I'm new, if you could remind me, like, well, why you gotta double down and be like, oh, too bad I'm the only one who could play this class? Like, you could tell, okay? You could tell this guy's uncomfortable. Like, you could tell this guy didn't like that. Like, you could tell if it was a joke. It's not reaching the person you're joking with. Yeah, like, clearly the tone is bad. You're laughing at him, not with him.
Like Pirate, but he was kind of having a hard time keeping up with everything going on. Here's how Pirate treated him. I'm sure you can tell from the title. Pirate Software bullying a totally new player to the game. Pathetic, dude. Watch.
You basically have to evocate to get your mana back for the next pull. Ugh.
Reminded me, sorry, I don't play the game, so I forgot. If you remind me, I can help you out real quick.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Jen. If only someone else would cast Arcane. If only.
Bro, he is clearly bad.
Can't really keep wishing for things that just aren't here, though.
That's true. That's true. Can't wish for the rogue. Can't wish for another mage to cast Arcane in.
Yeah.
Or may I have some modes? Oh, since we have 2 mages, we could probably poly the ads.
Wait, we have 2 mages. Oh, man.
Yeah, I can poly.
Here I've been the only one casting Arcane in. Incredible.
Bro, he's doing it again. Is this the second time?
Oh, it's crazy.
Again?
God, even reality TV can't recreate such an awkward moment, man. Just ruining the whole vibe.
Yeah, it's
Oh no, this is the replaying, my bad.
too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Jen.
Hey man, I'm new to the game, so if you want me to help with Arcane, just let me know, remind me. Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the game, right chat? Oh, we have 2 mages. Oh, I didn't know that. All that in the face of a new player who was being nothing but nice, honestly. And yet Pirate Software had the gall to complain about being bullied by other content creators when he was literally doing that to someone as innocent as Lucari. The culmination of all this would force Sodapoppin to take the decision of kicking Pirate Software from OnlyFans, pinging everyone in the OnlyFans Discord and saying this: "Yes, I made a decision to kick Pirate. I felt a large majority of people in the guild felt uncomfortable playing or being around him and all that drama that surrounded him at this point. Even though some people may have not felt that way, a lot did. And after seeing some clips today from him quadrupling down, or I don't know what number we're on at this point, I think I'm making the right decision, but still I feel bad. Try to just let this whole thing slide into forgetfulness and move on, in my opinion. Stay safe, gamers." So look,
Yeah. So there's too many people that he's making uncomfortable with how he's talking. And it's becoming enough of a problem that it would be better if he wasn't around, because a lot of the time that they're working together, he is the common denominator that is a problem, right? This is something you should know at this point, in my opinion, that you need to change, right?
Look, at the end of the day, in World of Warcraft in general, when you're in a raid or dungeon, you have to trust every single member on your team to make sure that not only you complete the raid or dungeon, but that you also survive. This also applies on a way bigger scale in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, because one bad teammate can cost you the account that you've put dozens or even hundreds of hours in. And people just couldn't trust someone who couldn't take any accountability like Pirate Software. As soon as things would have gone wrong, he would have probably just ran for his life and said he had no mana again. And not many people really felt sorry for him, because at the end of the day, he was the embodiment of this meme. No one was forcing him to sextuple down. No one was forcing him to bully a new player. The only person who was shooting themselves in the foot with a shotgun was none other than Pirate Software.
I feel like a lot of dudes aren't going to say this, but like, this game is a team game, right? This game is a team game. If you don't have somebody who wants to be a team player and constantly wants to be argumentative and not work together to make things work out, then they're always not going to be good for a team-based game, right? It's like people are always going to not like this archetype in the game that they're playing, because that is the one thing when you're playing a game with so much on the line that really matters. You want to play with the people who are easy to get along with. You want to play with people that like, despite everything, still want to work together, that don't want to put, you know, more gasoline on the fire. So when you have someone who is actively working in a way that doesn't do that, they're gonna not want that. At the end of the day, they're not being a team player as well.
At this point, Jason Thor Hall, otherwise known as Pirate Software, was slowly but surely becoming a lolcow, but he had no idea. But that was normal, because fundamentally speaking, a lolcow is never aware that they're a lolcow. Look, there are a lot of definitions of what a lolcow is, but if I had to sum it up, well, it would be very simple. It's someone who simply embodies the worst of the worst when it comes to human traits, but they would be constantly convinced that they are the perfect human being, never able to admit fault, and never willing to, even when they know that they're in the wrong. This by itself becomes very entertaining, and there are many examples.
Is a lolcow just a narcissist? Like, that doesn't sound much different than just saying a narcissist.
They come in all shapes, sizes, and even colors. And the mage who ran out of mana was about to join their ranks imminently. All he had to do to avoid this fate was just fucking apologize, man. But he just couldn't. In fact, what he ended up doing was maybe one of the cringiest things in this entire video. I genuinely can't believe that someone in his 30s said this, but I mean, watch this yourself. You'll know what I mean.
I didn't get this deep. Stop feeding into it. All of the accounts that are messaging me are getting reported. There's a funny fact about this. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. There's a whole lot of other people there that still know me. And all of these reports are going directly to them. They're well aware of the situation, and everybody who's messaging me, they're going to get read. It's kind of a dumbass thing to do, and I can't wait for all of them to get banned.
What? So anybody who sent him a message... Wait, what? Anybody who sent him a message in WoW is just going to get banned?
Yep.
Yeah, so all you guys whispering me right now with these threats, well, guess what? My dad works at Nintendo, and I'm going to tell him personally about every single one of you, so good job. See you later. It's like, bro, if they're sending you death threats, you really just have to report them in game, and I'm sure something will happen. You don't have to actually bother your Blizzard alumni. This clip was on January 14th, and guys...
Yeah, I don't think it's good that he's like, I'm going to report everybody. I'm going to report everybody, and therefore, like, I hope you like sending me a DM, because You're gonna get eradicated. I'm telling Daddy Blizzard, and y'all are going down.
Guys, I swear to you, I am constantly impressed by how ironic life can be. I don't think we live in a simulation, but sometimes I do get the feeling because some things are just so perfect in comedic timing, you'd think that there was someone writing a script. One day after this clip came out,
It's being out of touch. It is being out of touch. Like, this sounds like something you would say, like, in a corpo business model. You know? It's like, I'm gonna talk to the manager.
Software was streaming the game Ashes of Creation during its second alpha. This is an MMORPG similar to World of Warcraft, and it also has raids as well as dungeons. During a raid, Pirate Software would wipe the entire team. He would kill everyone single-handedly by pulling in the wrong unit. What would be his first reaction? Well, watch for yourself.
Sabu is not paying attention.
He pulled in the enemy.
Sabu.
And he died.
God damn it, guys.
No, he pulled the ocular.
So one of you pulled the ocular. Why? Now half the raid is dead. Was there a reason for that?
Okay, what does this mean?
I swear, it is so funny knowing that he was the one who pulled the ocular. This is also another thing with lolcows. They are unintentionally hilarious. Pirate Software here was genuinely pissed, okay? He genuinely was livid. But knowing that he was
does look pretty mad.
the one who caused the wipe is so fucking funny.
Oh, he's the one who pulled. Okay.
It showed people that World of Warcraft wasn't an isolated case. He was doing this in Ashes of Creation and would very easily do this a third time somewhere else. It was him. He was the issue here. And his lack of accountability was astounding. But you know what else is astounding? His ability to keep digging himself in deeper holes. During this whole fiasco, Joker D would talk about Pirate Software and would call him out.
I honestly fuck Pirate Software. Like, straight up, bro, this dude is a complete fraud. At least in the WoW space, I don't care if he worked for fucking Blizzard. The guy probably made fucking coffee for some devs. I don't even believe for a second.
So out of all the streamers in OnlyFans, Joker D probably went the hardest on Pirate Software. He took segments of this rant and uploaded it as a YouTube video.
Yep, see, this is the problem, right? It's a repeat behavior, and now people are getting peeved. The first few times you do this, you might just have people that are like, damn, this sucks, but I'm gonna let it go and move on. And then the more this happens, the more you're going to peeve people, and they're going to want to create compilations. They're going to want to call you out for it. They're going to want to, you know, share their side of the story when it's downplayed every time.
YouTube video would then be removed due to a violation of community guidelines, and the person who striked it cited the reason as being harassment and cyberbullying. What?
No, you don't do that. Okay, so in general, I think whenever somebody copyright strikes a creator, unless they are like outwardly advocating for violence, all right, or something horrible like doxing, like this always looks bad. It always looks like you cannot handle the criticism, so instead you just make the criticism unable to exist. You know what I mean?
One could only guess who took this video down. I mean, seriously. Joker D would never reveal the name of the brand or whatever that was behind this, but seeing that the video had gotten brigaded by Pirate Software's community, for many, it was safe to say that Pirate Software was the one who took this video down because he simply didn't like it, abusing the copy strike system on YouTube. Seeing that Pokemon had done this in the past back in 2020, getting an amazing community reaction, and of course we can't forget about Alinity doing this as well back in 2018. Wow, I'm old.
I'm gonna copy strike this guy.
I mean, it was genius. It worked so well for every content creator who had done that prior. So obviously...
That is true. That is a really valuable criticism. He is far from the only person who does this. He is far from the first or only person who does this.
This was the play. Congratulations. You know, it's so fascinating to me how the internet works sometimes. Someone could mind their own business for months, for years, for decades, but as soon as they do something that makes them so incredibly unlikable, the internet starts seeing a big red target on your back and they strike. Pirate Software had a talent of building up a huge, loyal community in just the span of a couple of months. When January 2025 came by though, he proved to us that he had another talent, building up a massive community of very loyal haters. These incidents that we just talked about had ensured that. This is when those very same haters would start scrutinizing every single aspect of Pirate Software, both as a brand and as a person, only to eventually dismantle this massive empire that he had built.
Yes, and by the way, I'm not saying, okay, let's say they find out that Pirate didn't copyright claim this video. And let's also say that the clip where he was saying he was going to ban everyone was out of context. This is all supporting evidence. And even if both didn't exist, there is still a root problem that keeps occurring. Do you see what I mean? So you could say one or two of these are not good supporting evidence or you know what I mean, were proven as not true. But there's so many points that after so many, they end up making a line. And so even if one or two of these, you know, end up being disproven, the problem is that we have already found so many other examples that the issue still stands.
Now look, just to be clear, Pirate Software has always had haters, dating all the way back to September 2024, and there were earlier instances too. This is normal. When you get famous, when you take over the algorithm the way he did, some people will naturally get fatigued from you. I mean, you might not believe this, but even someone like Queso has haters.
Yeah, man. Did you guys see the other day, Queso had people that were being mean to him when he got sick? Like, that is horrible. But like, even somebody like Queso that is like beloved as a streamer, still gets shitheads. That sucks. Like, I have sympathy even if it's well, that's natural to happen. Like, I still, you know, it still sucks.
Purely because he's a massive content creator, no pun intended. Some of these early haters of Pirate Software would start making videos talking about his past. About how, for example, he wasn't the game developer he was making himself out to be, especially with his Blizzard experience. About how he used to go by the name of Moldavius Figtree and was a well-renowned furry in Second Life and EVE Online. But those—
See, this is just crazy to me. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It's just a very stark contrast. It's always weird to find stuff out like that, even from people like completely in the right with no public criticism, to just find out like what they did before what they do now.
Those videos would never get enough traction to actually matter. As you can see, this video right here with the title of Pirate Software, the streamer who faked his game dev career, had reached almost 100,000 views. From the like and dislike ratio, we can see how Pirate Software had somehow, either directly or indirectly, sent his community to brigade this video, and just like Joker D's video, it was taken down by abusing—
Oh, weird. Yeah, so again, let's say you thought that was fake. Well, there's a previous example of this that played out the same way, which adds to its validity.
The copy strike system and inciting harassment and cyberbullying. So essentially, if you were an early hater of Pirate Software, if you had something to say, well, chances are no one heard you. This is how for a long time he was able to sweep all the hate, feedback, and criticism under the rug. Except this time, after all the events that we just saw unfold, he had way too many eyes examining his every move, and he couldn't just sweep criticism under the rug anymore.
Yep. Like, in some ways, he was being over-criticized, but in others, he was being held accountable for things that he should have been before, but was able to not have anybody go after until now.
For example, around the end of January 2025, Pirate Software had DMCA'd an indie game and threatened to sue its developer. Why? Well, the developer shows us the main reason why Pirate Software wanted the game taken down. Here it is. It's this roach wearing the same wizard hat that he was wearing during World of Warcraft, while mimicking some of the things that he was saying. Watch.
As much as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
Oh.
This whole game got DMCA'd because of this. I mean, this is how sensitive he is.
Yeah, this is a really bad example to me of like, this is really, it's like, don't do this, okay? There's so many streamers that get parodied, okay? Everyone does. Every content creator who's made it always gets parodied somewhere.
And now many people were made aware of this. He couldn't just copy, strike, or DMCA just about anyone, because every time he did, he spawned more haters. His strategy was now outdated. Everyone was made aware of what had happened to this indie game. And speaking of indie games, there was renewed scrutiny over Pirate Software's indie game called Heartbound.
Yeah, wasn't the voice clip, like, it wasn't even his official audio, and also the voice clip wasn't even in the game, which again, like, something else I don't think he's gonna mention is this adds validity to the previous claims, right? Like, maybe you could have said, oh, well, that person that made a clip of him, you know, he got copyright claimed, but maybe that was a pirate, right? But now when you see this other supporting evidence, it leads to, it further supports that it most likely was Pirate who copyright struck even the clip of himself earlier.
With many wondering why it's been in early access since 2018 with no release date in sight. Give it 3 more years, it'll be a decade. Some people were comparing him to Yandere Dev, a very well-established lolcow who hadn't released his game in over a decade. And when people actually analyzed its code, they found some of the worst written code known to mankind. Seeing all this scrutiny and criticism catch up to his own game development must have hit one hell of a nerve, because very shortly after he announced that Heartbound would start receiving monthly updates. And all it
So I also think this further was in the public eye because he chose to criticize Stop Killing Games. So because you're now like criticizing and jumping in to directly be against a movement that is meant for consumers on the basis of video game ownership, people are now going to notice that you have a game of your own, and they're going to look into that.
All it took was people going there and reviewing it negatively. He was hoping that this would steer off the criticism and the scrutiny, and that things would eventually finally go back to normal, but the haters weren't really done just yet. People were putting into question his entire identity, the fact that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years, but worked what exactly? As well as him claiming that he was one hell of a hacker who had gone to the yearly hacking conference, DEF CON, and won some pretty important events there with the help of his team that he never mentioned, of course. Always taking credit for this by himself. I mean, at some point he was invited to a podcast called Dropped Frames. This was a clip from it, and here's the title: Pirate Software on how he became a hacker for the government. These were the stories that he was telling people. Watch this.
You're a hacker. Like that's where you like kind of started.
Actual hacker.
An actual hacker. Like,
Yes.
Not like I'm a hacker. No, you're an actual hacker. You won.
Like an actual hacker.
Yeah,
Yeah, my last job was hacking power plants for the federal government. I
Yeah.
worked for the United States Department of Energy.
So
Just
dude
the
walks in with a
Dang.
laptop and a suit, and you
I didn't know that lore. That's crazy.
lean over to, who's that guy? Oh, that's the hacker from the government.
Yeah, that's the hacker.
Chat, I'm just gonna say something, all right? It's not even about Pirate. Why are furries always like some type of like government agent? The amount of times the person is a furry and is a member of the government is a correlation that I can't get out of my head, that I've seen more than once, okay? Like, why are furries like they're all and they're all like engineers and like IT and like it's just crazy that correlation happens so often. Yeah, the overlap of furries and IT supremacy does not go unnoticed by me, and I don't know how that correlation happens.
It's even worse. We go in like 3 to 4 man teams, man. So like we've got a team. Of
Oh, you
dudes
had a
looking
fleet.
Like
You had
this.
like a team of dudes in
It
suits
wasn't just
holding
me.
laptops,
Yeah,
walking into
exactly.
restricted areas. Okay.
When he says things like this, what he's trying to paint in your mind as a viewer is that he's some sort of Unit 8200 Mossad agent writing zero-day exploits on USBs that are snuck into Iranian nuclear facilities and that infest and shut down the entire technical operation of that nuclear power plant.
What?
When in reality, if you look at his LinkedIn and reconcile it against his skill set, what he did was social engineering. He wrote phishing emails and tried to gain access to credentials and user systems that way.
So Coding Jesus said it best. Pirate Software
I mean, to be fair, this does sound like the way the government would do it. I mean, I want to be surprised, but I can absolutely see that there is like a well-paying
His entire identity was slowly starting to unravel right before our very eyes. From the shorts that made him go viral, to the stories he used to say on stream, to quite literally everything about him was nothing more than either an exaggeration or him trying as best as possible to sugarcoat reality. We can very clearly see on his LinkedIn that first off, he didn't work at Blizzard for 7 years, it was actually 6 years, 6 months. And that
all right, this part doesn't matter to me too much. Bro, but that's because I'm stupid and I'll be like, I streamed for 3 years, 3.5 or something. I don't even remember the exact amount of time I've been here.
His initial roles were him being in quality assurance. For the first 4 years at Blizzard, so the majority of his time there, he was in an entry-level role, eventually being promoted multiple times and finishing off as a senior red team specialist. In his own description of the job, he said, infiltrated and exploited physical access controls, managed social engineering operations to improve employee awareness and resilience, and finally created, launched, and managed a global web application bounty program. As Coding Jesus said, this guy would literally just send phishing emails, make phone calls, try to pretend to be an outsider in order to have employees make mistakes so that they can improve internal protocols. I mean, it's an important job, that's for sure, but even on his LinkedIn, he would make claims that he worked on all these different games. I mean, yeah, indirectly, but none.
I don't think this is a problem either. I'm just gonna say it. Of course you do this. It's your LinkedIn. If you could get away with people like with enough proof to say you did backflips out of a helicopter while playing Call of Duty with it like blindfolded, I'm gonna put it on there, all right? I'm sorry.
None of your code made it to the game. You didn't model, you didn't texture, and you sure as hell didn't animate. You just so happened to work on internal projects in parallel to these games. And yet, every time someone would mention something about games, about the video game industry, about whatever, he would always start off by saying, I worked 7 years at Blizzard, actually, so I know
Why is that a good impression? Mujin voice acting arc when? What the f?
what I'm talking about. When in reality, no. Yeah. I worked 7 years at Blizzard, actually, so I know what I'm talking about. When in reality, no, you have more experience as an indie developer than you ever had as a developer at a AAA company, and that's the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that he made this such an important and integral part of his personality that it felt like a massive betrayal. But that's not all.
I do think that part is a nothing burger. I'm gonna just say that. That's just my opinion. Even professionals will tell you to always oversell yourself and not undersell yourself. I don't think his LinkedIn is a problem. I do think that is a reach. I think that part does not matter.
His dad was Joey Ray Hall. This picture right here is.
But if we find out that okay, listen, chat. If we find out he's not good at tech, I'm gonna question him as a furry. He can't be an actual good furry if he's not good at tech, all right? It really brings in his furriness into question. You know what I'm saying?
Is of 10 people. And if you don't know who they are, these people happen to be the original founders of Blizzard Entertainment. Yes, these guys are legends in every sense of the word. And the guy in the middle is none other than Jason Thorhall's father. He later became the director of cinematics at Blizzard, which is probably the only thing that Blizzard has been consistently good at for the last 20 years. He was
okay, so his dad's an OG.
Also the inspiration behind this guy in South Park from the famous World of Warcraft episode. I mean, this guy was a legend in every sense of the word. And so Mashable.com, when they made this article about Pirate Software titled How Streamer Pirate Software Gained Nearly 2 million subs in 6 months, they just had to mention the fact that he's a Nepo baby, saying when he was 16, he landed a dream job as a game tester at Blizzard Entertainment, which before the bloated loot boxes and corporate acquisition by Microsoft for $68.7 billion was considered one of the most respected companies in the video game industry. It helped that he was a Nepo baby, since his dad Joey Ray Hall had spent over 2 decades at the industry titan since almost the very beginning.
I do think this is important because it's probably how he got that connection. Because if his dad didn't work for Blizzard, it probably would have been a lot harder to just cold send a resume and get in. A lot of people get into the industry having other people they know in the industry. You know, it may not be fair, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Now, of course, after 6 months, he would leave because he felt that the corporate life wasn't for him, and many years later would reapply by himself without the help of his dad, landing a QA role, which I believe, because if he had the help of his dad, no way he would end up in an entry-level position. But still, just them including this sentence, calling him a Nepo baby, truly triggered him beyond belief. I mean, look at what he had to say.
Oh, really? I wonder why. Pirate himself said in the beginning that he is a Nepo baby? then why does this bother him? Oh, the one thing Pirate's good at is doubling down. Why doesn't he do it here? Why doesn't he just be like, yeah, I'm a Nepo baby. I've said that since the beginning. Who cares? Why doesn't he do it here? It's the perfect time to do so.
Yeah, really not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. It's one of those things that I've been trying to fight my entire career. It's one of the things that I've had to argue with people in chat about. It's one of the things that we ban people for here. Anytime people say shit like that, because it's deeply disrespectful and it
Wait, what? What? Bro, Pirate is so good at doubling down and being matter of fact. I feel like this is the one case where he should have just doubled down. I was born this way!
completely overwrites any of the things that I've done throughout my career as something that is somebody else's success, which they have not been in any possible respect. And it's just rude as fuck. So
I get how this would get annoying, by the way. Like, maybe people are spamming you with it. I'd be like, I hear this same criticism like 50 times a day. Yeah, like, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here. Annoying chatters that come in, if he's hearing this like 50 times a day, it doesn't matter if they say like, it could be any word. It could be blueberries. But when you hear it enough, you're like, oh my God, shut the fuck. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's fair. It's fair if he's like, I hear the word like 50 times a day. I've owned up to it, but this is getting tiring, right?
what do you say? In the thing, he said it was he called me a Nepo baby. In his article. No, that's dog shit behavior. Really gross. In any case,
I don't feel like this is a bad thing. I feel like in the article, I feel like it's really not bad.
Let's go find somebody to raid.
I mean, you heard him, right? He would ban people in chat if they called him a Nepo baby. It's the easiest way to trigger him. And yet, at the same time, the same guy who's acting triggered over being called Nepo baby said this multiple times on his stream. Watch.
Yeah, see, this doesn't help because then people who call you this, who are not trying to be rude, are only calling you that because they notice you say it yourself.
Well, I'm second generation Blizzard. I'm the first second generation Blizzard employee that ever existed with the company. I'm also a second generation Blizzard employee. I was a second generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee ever. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee.
Yeah, he says it so many times.
And I love that shit. I love that company. Working for Blizzard sucked.
Again, a lol cow is someone who is unintentionally hilarious when being 100% serious, and I just can't stop laughing at this guy. I mean, seriously? I was the first
Oh man, so that's the difference between a regular narcissist and a lol cow, huh? Is that they just they just die on the hill and it's laughable type of thing?
Just can't stop laughing at this guy. I mean, seriously? I was the first second generation Blizzard employee? What is this?
Like, that is a really roundabout way to say Nepo baby.
The Chinese dynasty? Like, what are you even talking?
I feel like he literally crafted that word as a more professional way to say that he's a Nepo baby. Because it sounds nicer on the ears, even though it's the same thing.
About. And let's be real here. The only reason you were the first second generation Blizzard employee was purely because of your dad. Because back then, they didn't even have a recruiting team. You were just the easiest hire. And I think one thing he has to understand is that being a Nepo baby isn't a bad thing.
Yep.
I think most people, if they had a dad or a mom who worked a really cool job, they would love to take advantage of that, and they do.
Yeah, sure.
For example, Jack Quaid is an actor that was called a Nepo baby multiple times by fans. That's because his parents are both Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, two very successful actors. His response was very refreshing for fans, agreeing with the Nepo baby label and saying, "I'm an immensely privileged person. I don't think it undermines my talent," adding that he was able to get representation pretty early on because of being a Nepo baby, and that it's already more than half the battle. So as I said, being a Nepo baby isn't inherently a bad thing. It's only bad when you try to deny it. When you get—
Yes, it's only bad when you don't own it. Because you can be a Nepo baby and still be extremely talented. And what's unfortunate is people will devalue you down to these things because they're jealous. It'll happen no matter what. So if you try to ignore the truth of it, it's just going to be misleading. People are going to think you're being disingenuous. Even though it sucks that people will devalue you, right? They do this to streamers all the time. You wouldn't be successful unless you were a Nepo baby. You wouldn't be successful if this other streamer didn't notice you. But at the end of the day, you can't really hold that position once you have that foot in the door, once you have that boost, unless you have the skills and talent to back it up.
defensive because come on, who are you lying to? And that was what Pirate Software was doing. It was becoming more and more obvious that Pirate Software had a massive ego but also very deep-rooted insecurities. He wanted to appear like a genius no matter what. And according to him, geniuses never apologize. Geniuses never admit fault. But they also—
Yeah, Asmongold thought that too, and then he got banned and then apologized in a whole length video, alright?
never make mistakes and always, no matter what, figure things out on stream. This is something that became painfully obvious when he would play some pretty hard puzzle games and would figure out some of the hardest things all by himself miraculously after looking at his phone, playing it off like it was some genius eureka moment. Outer Wilds is a critically acclaimed, story-rich space exploration game that just so happens to have some pretty complex puzzles. Pirate Software would play this game on stream, and he would proceed to solve these puzzles all by himself, miraculously, and more specifically, after looking at his phone. In the VOD of his gameplay—
Nah. Did he solve these the first time? Did he just miraculously know them the first time? He didn't? It sure sounds like he acts like people, you know, he didn't look.
Around 8 hours and 7 minutes, he gets stuck in an area and he needs to get out somehow. This is one of the many puzzles in this game. Now, he would struggle to find the
I feel like I've heard this game is good, but I'll hate it because I f***ing hate puzzles. I hate them so much.
solution, deliberate with his chat, talk a bunch, and then at around the 8:20 mark, he would pull out his phone right here and continue talking to chat. This goes on for 2 minutes, in which he deliberates while very clearly looking at his phone. And then eventually, at around the 8-hour, 22-minute mark, he would get a eureka moment.
Maybe it's not with the scanner. Maybe there's a different way. Maybe it's not the scanner at all. Maybe it's the time. Maybe the fact that we were able to destroy the surface like that was the point. Huh.
Sorry, he just sounds like an anime protagonist. Maybe that wasn't the point the whole time. Maybe it was different than I anticipated it. Let me deeper think about this another time and see if I could come up with another solution. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. I have an idea.
Guys, wait a minute. Oh my god, I have an idea. Guys, oh my god. This just came out of nowhere. My brain just works differently. Did I mention that I worked 7 years at Blizzard? This would spread like wildfire on Reddit. This guy is faking his Outer Wilds run in order to appear to be a genius to his community. That's crazy. It's so ridiculous you can't even believe it. But as I already mentioned, he was facing increased scrutiny. He normally would have been able to get away with this, and he did get away with this in other games. It's just that now things were different. When questioned about cheating in Outer Wilds, this is what he had to say.
Why did you cheat in Outer Wilds? What?
What? Me cheating?
How the hell would you cheat in that game? Bro, we played it all live on stream. All right, bud. It's a wild-ass thing to say.
Yes, how would you cheat while live streaming this as he stares into his phone for 2 straight minutes? You're absolutely right. The real controversy would be when he would play the game Animal Well that released on May 2024. You see, he played this game before the World of Warcraft controversy and before the increased scrutiny. But after he had embarrassed himself in Outer Wilds and World of Warcraft, people thought to go back and check his gameplay because they thought, wait, now that I think about it, this was kind of suspicious.
Yeah, see, I don't, in general, okay? I feel like when people pick apart a person from years ago, it's just crazy people on the internet just trying to find a crumb of anything else. Because they already hate someone and they have endless amount of time with that hatred, and it's uncalled for and weird. But I just want to let it be known that the reason it's happening, or the reason that like sane people are listening to this, is because they believe he's inauthentic, so now they're looking for it in other places.
And the evidence here was damning. It was simply undeniable. You see, Animal Well is a puzzle game, but not just any puzzle game. It has many puzzles and many secrets that are very easy to miss if you don't take your time analyzing every aspect of it. When the game first came out, you had people on Reddit and in forums trying to work together in order to find all of its secrets and puzzles.
Yeah, Animal Well was difficult, right? Like this was a game that like it took a while for people to actually work out what some of the solutions were.
Those puzzles was the Wingding puzzle. This took the entire community over a week of teamwork in order to find the solution. This was a group effort in every way, and no one person could have solved it by themselves. The guide came out on May 19th, 2024. And
I also think these are so cool, by the way. I love to hear when a game makes people so intrigued that they're all willing to work together in order to figure out how to do it.
it just so happens that Pirate Software, miraculously, all by himself on stream, solved this puzzle on May 19th, the day the guide came out.
Oh my... Yeah, that doesn't look good.
I mean, bro, seriously? You'd also have some people write entire essays with proof as to why they think that Pirate Software cheated. If you want to read this and have actually played Animal Well, you can pause the video, but in a nutshell, it's almost like he was trying his hardest to ruin any ounce of reputation he had left. I mean, seriously, are you that insecure that you would cheat in a fucking puzzle game in order to appear to be a genius to your community? Really?
See, the thing for me is whenever people do this, I'm like, why? I don't think you have to be good at a game for people to enjoy watching you play it. It's so weird that people really want to be known. Like, they really want to have that ego boost of like, I'm good at video games.
Really? It's insanity. But this was reality because, as I said earlier, this scrutiny was disassembling every aspect of his brand and personality, even down to his most fundamental traits, like his own voice. People would somehow unearth this old clip of him at a convention in which...
Yeah, see what I mean? It's further like, this isn't authentic. This is a repeat thing where something's not authentic. So now when this comes out as a new behavior, right? People are going to look for other examples. Like, the problem is that, like, when people started to do this, you could have said it was unhinged for them to be looking back into the past, trying to figure out if you were in Second Life or not, right? But, like, you're doing it again. You're coming up with, you're playing games and figuring out the secrets the first time. Like, this is what leads to that, is what I'm saying. Lack of authenticity, more than I think any other trait.
She sounded completely different than how he sounds today, leading many to believe that he's either faking his voice or simply using a voice changer on his microphone. Listen to this.
Show been so far?
It's actually been amazing. It's our first time out here at Denver Comic Con, and there's so many people, and they love the games, so it's been awesome.
So speaking of games, what do you have for us today?
So we have Champions of Breakfast, which is a twin-stick shooter that we made in 24 days, from concept to release on Steam. Blew up. It was really, really awesome. And that game is pretty difficult, so if you're into really hard arcade games, that's the kind of thing for you.
You know what hurts my soul here? He sounds so friendly here. Like, people are making fun of him for how he looks here and having the higher pitched voice, but this really, like, he really seems friendly here. He seems like a person you could walk up to who would be nice.
You know what, though? To be fair, he sounds like such a pleasant person here. This is someone I can see myself being
I'm glad he said it. Like, he sounds so nice here.
friends with. Look, people want to theorize and say that he has a voice changer or is faking his voice. I think he was just killed by an evil clone. I think that's a better explanation. This, of course, wouldn't be the only clip where you'd hear him have a different voice, like this one, for example.
I'm gonna have to peel my hot dog. I have to peel it. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled.
Why is there a banana coming out? Why is there a hot dog inside the banana peel, sir? That was a banana and a hot dog came out.
You see, now that I've peeled the hot dog, it's ready to eat.
Look, a hot dog is
That's
about
right.
to be eaten by Thor.
It's ready to
Let's
eat.
demand he smears.
Okay, look, if you're not convinced yet, here's a more recent clip.
I'm sorry, but this is a banger clip. Can we keep this one? This is making me like Thor more. Look at the face.
If you're not convinced yet, here's a more recent clip of him playing Animal Well. This was around a year ago, back in 2024. Look.
I don't know what that gives me, though.
I don't know what is that supposed to do? How am I gonna put that shit in there? Oh, God.
That was such a good voice. That was a hearty laugh. I think this is the first time I've actually heard him laugh. And I don't mean this from like the clips that are farming him and the clips that like are about him in a bad light. Even his own clips, I don't see him just genuinely laugh. Like, this is a part of him that is human and fun and you know what I mean? Makes him endearing. There's no clips even from himself where he sells that he could be endearing.
God damn it.
To some people, this was his voice changer glitching. To others, this was him mistakenly getting too comfortable with his real voice. What does Pirate Software have to say about this? Well, apparently, according to his doctor, his voice went through a second puberty in his 30s. That's right. Apparently your balls can drop twice, but I could only find a handful of sources on this, and this article from the BBC pretty much sums it up by saying that as we get older, the larynx gets stiffer, making the vocal cords less flexible. I mean, this isn't new. When you talk to someone who's 90 years old, they'll sound different than what they used to sound like in their 20s. But to have this much of a dramatic change? That's crazy. Regardless though, I mean, the pressure was getting to Pirate Software.
By the way, I find this sad because that's got to be exhausting. You know what I mean? Like, if he really feels like this bad about his voice, that's just, I don't know. I feel bad for anybody who has that.
Not only was his game getting scrutinized, not only was his past out in the open, but people were criticizing his gameplay, the way he played games, and even his voice. Things were getting out of control. So the next thing you know, he was on stream with a psychologist by the
Oh God. Oh boy.
name of Dr. K. Alok Kanogia, otherwise known as Dr. K, runs the healthygamer.gg organization. He's a clinical psychologist who founded this brand in order to be able to reach the very big and growing demographic of gamers, a group of people who very often will struggle with mental health and not really seek out therapy when they should. His content is mostly educational, drawing parallels between video games and what you go through mentally, and overall, he's been quite successful. Now, of course, that's not to say that he doesn't have his fair share of haters. Some people, for example, have criticized the fact that he does these therapy sessions with streamers in public, even though the person in question consents to it. From Dr. K's perspective, though,
Yes, it should be talked about that people that do any type of profession that you would normally do in private or behind closed doors and do them in front of the public eye have a secondary motive now to display things in a way that is for entertainment, right? And also the fact that they are seen publicly, unlike a psychologist who you would not see each one of the meetings they had. They're going to be scrutinized because just like anybody else, right? They're not going to be right all the time. Anybody can be wrong sometimes. And so it's always important with anything like this, to realize there's a secondary motive, which is that he is publicly broadcasting it, right? And the other thing to notice is that everybody's going to be wrong sometimes. So, there's probably some things that he absolutely cooks on, and sometimes where he misses the mark, right? That's just natural.
he wants to show people that streamers are humans too. And if someone like those streamers that they idolize is brave enough to get therapy, then they can do so too.
I do think he does this extremely well. The one thing that Dr. K does well is anytime I've watched an episode where a streamer has agreed to be on it, even Iron Mouse, it displays a level of humility and endearment, I guess, for basic everyday insecurities and problems that it really just connects you to that person as, having the same problems everybody does every day, whether it's anxiety, depression, insecurity. And making people make that human connection that even though you know them as a streamer that you look up to or idolize or, disagree with for one thing or another, whenever I see someone on Dr. K's show, whether he's right or wrong about certain things, he does a really good job at humanizing them to the audience. I do think he accomplishes this really well.
His conversation with Pirate Software would last over 3 hours and a half. It would get viewed by almost 1 million people, and having watched a good chunk of it, I can tell you right now, regardless of what you might think about Dr. K, I think this stream truly shows his incredible skill in being able to converse with such an obvious narcissist without having him rage quit the call, while still trying his best to give him a reality check. And for you to understand that,
I think I might want to watch this at some point. Because a lot of the things I've seen is Pirate leave whenever he gets criticized. You know what I mean? So I just think it would be interesting if he actually took criticism from somebody giving it to him in a way that wasn't somebody who didn't mean ill will by doing it. I feel like it would be an interesting watch, right?
I want you to watch this clip.
For this shit right now is they come in and they're like, did you know that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years? Yeah, that was my career. And I'm proud of that. So of course I'm going to talk about that because it gives context to talk about other things around the games industry, which is what we do on the stream.
Yeah.
So I think I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality, I'm just trying to give context.
So that
If
is
that
the
makes
problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase.
Sure.
This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality, it's this.
Yeah.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro.
Damn, Dr. K, holy. I mean, I thought the same thing, but man, he not holding any. How long into this? Woo.
Like, tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
God, it must be so hard talking to someone like that. Anyway, in the next clip, you'll
Was this like 2 hours in? Yeah, it's been an hour and 17 minutes at this point. So I feel like if he said this as like one of the first criticisms, I'd be like, damn, brother. But the context that he's been in here for an hour and 17 minutes, I feel like
you'll be seeing the logic behind Pirate Software's attitude when it comes to never apologizing.
I do think that out of context, right? That Dr. K saying it like that was very firm. Like he's not wrong, but god damn, right?
Let me
like not give any context whatsoever.
Yeah. Let's say yes to that. I think that's a bit of hyperbole, but
just an emotional response?
No, just say, "Hey guys." So basically, you know, when you tell the narrative, you start with like, I made a mistake, everyone made mistakes, I was smug. And then there's a lot that comes after that. How would you feel about just ending it after that first paragraph?
I hate that.
Okay.
I have like a
See, this sucks because he's giving him an option here, right? Like he's trying so hard, like a different way to get him to see it. Okay, I'm gonna just say it because all right, I'm no expert, but I've learned different ways of talking can lead to like different results, right? And so the reason that I think you approach it like this is because you want. This is just my guess. I could be wrong. You normally do this because somebody who's narcissistic wants to say he came up with it himself and discovered it even though Dr. K didn't tell him. And so that's why he's like, how would you feel about this? Not just like, you should get rid of this, which is really direct and like, what do you call it? Like the ego takes a lot harder. If you say like, this is wrong and you should get rid of it, that's like a direct criticism. But if you say like, how do you feel about this? That's more passive, but it also like gives the person the ability to say it was their idea more. Yeah, like he's leading the horse to water. It's a gentler approach.
Paragraph.
That's why you could tell that he's frustrated, right? Because he's trying to like...
I hate that.
Okay.
I have like a...
Like that slow blink of like, God damn, I don't know how, like what strategy to use in order to get this person...
An immediate...
To get it.
Emotionally angry response against that.
Very good.
Because it feels like idiocracy.
Okay.
I do feel like that's honest. I do feel like on Pirate Software's side, he does admit emotion here, which is a good thing. Even if it's misplaced, right? He basically says, this makes me mad, which is actually pretty good. Because half the time he keeps with stoicism.
It feels like, that's too long, didn't read, I don't need all those words when few words do gooder. That I hate that shit. Like I super hate that kind of communication of like there's a lot of people that say like, oh, you should just say my bad, guys. No, that does not in any way explain a situation. That doesn't tell you any information that is real. It is hand waving for the masses in a way that is disingenuous to what happened and disingenuous to the people that are involved. I feel like to do that would be just me lying for the sake of lying so that people would fuck off.
This really gave us an insight as to how his mind functions. And as you heard from him talk,
I will give him one thing, Chet. He was being honest here. He was being honest about how he felt and why he felt that way. All right? But this is the one time I've really like felt like this was a genuine response. You know what I mean? Even if you believe he's wrong for doing this, like, It doesn't sound like he's lying.
He hates the idea of just saying, my bad, let's move on. I'm sorry, let's move on. He wants to sit there and type 12 paragraphs as to why he was wrong but not really, while others were more wrong than him. All of a sudden, things make a lot of sense. Now, listen to how Dr. K responded to that. Okay, just watch.
So I think what I liked about that response, so my hope, so we're not here to like rehab your PR, right? We're just here to have a conversation. And at the same time, over the last 2 hours, there's something about the way that I hear you talk that rubs me the wrong way.
The way he prefaced this was for his ego. Sorry, I just like analyzing speech. It's fun. So Dr. K starts off a statement because he's about to throw a criticism. So he starts it out like, hey, this isn't a PR thing, right? Which is, again, appealing to like that. Basically, in my opinion, Dr. K is saying, I'm not trying to sit here and throw rocks, right? But this is the point that you're here, is to look into things that are difficult. You see what I'm saying? And then he's like, all right, here comes the javelin, which is a really good, what do you call it? Like the criticism sandwich. Like you say something nice first and then you put the hard shit between the buns.
Over the
Oh, but my phrasing is fantastic today. I could have said that so many other ways.
Last 2 hours, there's something about the way that I hear you talk that rubs me the wrong way. There's something about the way that you talk that seems...
This clearly hurt him, by the way. Like, clearly, like, whether he wants to admit it or not, it looks like this, I do feel like he's hurting here. I feel like he's a lot more fragile than he likes to admit.
dismissive. So I'll tell you where that...
No, I agree with that.
Right? So
No,
it's like...
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I made a mistake. We all made mistakes.
Okay.
Right? So there's something about your sentence construction. It's like... Oh,
bro, that's what I said! That's what I said
oh
earlier.
yeah, Thor. I'm sorry I cheated on you, bro. I really do love you. You know, we both have flaws in this marriage.
I think the...
Bro, that's what I said. The language he used when he took fault was dismissive, and it's the way he said it. Oh my god. Oh my god. I said that.
Funny thing here is that Dr. K is known to be very caring, very nice, and not confrontational at all when it comes to streams like this.
Yeah, I've never seen him really call someone out as much as this clip. I'm not gonna lie.
But in this case, seeing that he's an experienced psychologist, he knew when to become confrontational.
Yeah, he's like, all right, if I really want to help this guy, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to use the stick because the carrot is
knew when to call out pirate software on his bullshit, and this is what it was. Bullshit. In just a span of like 20 seconds, Dr. K had essentially summed up people's entire problem with pirate software. When he would be criticized, when he would be given feedback, when he would be given advice, he was always dismissive and smug. And this smugness is what led us here. People were hoping that this productive 3.5-hour conversation would actually lead somewhere, maybe actually make him apologize for once and take a step back. But it didn't. His empire kept crumbling until we had finally reached the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, see, the problem is he probably didn't want to back down from Dr. K because it would make him look like he was unable to have a conversation with somebody who generally, like, I don't know. I don't think I've seen any Dr. K talks with creators where it's made them look worse. Like, 90% of the time, it only makes them look better. You know what I mean? So, like, declining somebody who is seen in a pretty positive light, you know, it wouldn't be a good move. And also, if he was struggling, like, with the public seeing him in the right light, somebody like Dr. K could make him seen in a better one, right? The problem is, I think that he went in thinking I'm doing this to prove that I'm brave or something, and not, you know, gonna not talk to Dr. K. Like, I'm not incapable of doing this interview, right? But he doesn't want to lose. And like, the problem is it's not winning or losing. Like so much of people who cannot survive without ego are like they cannot lose even a crumb of it. They will die on every hill.
Stop Killing Games. Stop Killing Games is an initiative launched by Ross Scott in the European Union and the United Kingdom. It was meant to be a direct answer to what happened with the game The Crew, made by Ubisoft. At the end of December 2023, Ubisoft all of a sudden announced that The Crew would no longer be purchasable and that its servers would be going down on March 31st, 2024. Seeing that this was a live service game, this meant that after March, you'd never be able to play this game ever again. The salt in the wound, though, was that barely a couple weeks after the servers went offline, Ubisoft revoked The Crew from people who had bought it digitally,
Yep. Oh, it's nasty.
A message saying, you no longer have access to this game, why not check the store to pursue your adventures? To many, this was an outrage. It essentially meant that you never owned your games to begin with. Ubisoft can just take them away. This also more recently happened with Concord. It barely came out for a week and then the servers were offline. If you bought the disc copy, you were played like an idiot. The Stop Killing Games initiative argued,
I think really having so many games need like it's like two things, like the ability for almost like the ground level, like anybody could be a game dev, right? You could reuse assets like Phasmophobia did and slowly build a game with just a few people, right? And so like the more game devs could exist from the floor being easier to reach, even if they couldn't get to the ceiling, the more that AAA struggled to hold any ground, right? And also at the same time, I feel like there wasn't a lot of things in place to prevent bad actors. So like the thing is that the bad actors started occurring more, and then when more people knew about them because there's more gamers after COVID. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it, but I just feel like this made this so much more evident, and there was more examples of it, and people were like, nope, we gotta do something.
That it
We
wasn't
gotta do
really
something.
legal. It was very weird for live service games to just shut down like that without giving players an alternative. With Ross Scott on his YouTube channel saying that games as a service is fraud. One thing to note is that this initiative wasn't forcing publishers or developers to keep game servers online forever. What it simply wanted was to have a way to access these games after the servers went offline, by allowing players to host their own servers, for example, arguing that if taking games down like this would become the norm, then way too many games would become lost media.
Yep, I agree. The thing is too is like I'm not an expert on any of these things, right? And so like the thing that told me that it must be something personal is that like if you are somebody who is super passionate about games, right, has worked in them your whole life, you know, your entire being and what you talk about is mainly about them and about how much you know about them, then you would want to be a part of these things to help, right? So the fact that he so avidly did not want to help or offer to like change certain things, and you know, to me that was kind of the nail in the coffin, more so than like, you know, whether the initiative could have been worded better or is perfect, right? Like I don't have I don't know anything about this. Like I'm no expert on initiatives and how you're supposed to write them. But I think the core issue again is like he didn't look into it. It didn't seem like he read into it, and he also clearly didn't want to help, right? Just like in the WoW thing, it's like nope, he's on his own solo brigade, and he doesn't seem to want to help the people around him.
Because that's what The Crew and Concord are right now. They're essentially lost media. It was classified as a European Citizens Initiative, in which European citizens could sign it, and if it would reach 1 million signatures, then it would be talked about in the European Parliament. It would initially get a couple 100,000 signatures until a certain person would speak out against it in the most aggressive way possible. Of course, we're talking about our good old friend, piratesoftware. He felt so passionate about this topic that he made 2 videos about it, very shortly after it launched in the summer of 2024. Now look, we're not going to watch the whole video, I just want to show you the first 10 seconds. Let's do this.
Hi, My name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as Pirate Software Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, Pirate Software, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been...
There's just something about this guy, man. I don't know. I can't explain it. Anyway, he worked at...
He looks so mad. Like, ugh. Like I could feel it. I could feel him pissed off. He's like, his leg is shaking. Oh, he upset.
Blizzard Entertainment for around 7 years, guys. And he vehemently opposed every single thing this initiative stood for.
Like, I wouldn't have even needed to know what this initiative was or who Pyro was. And just seeing him like this, I could already tell that he's mad.
Arguing that it would kill live service games and kill gaming in general. Completely misunderstanding what this initiative was even about, and using his massive influence, which was still present at the time, to kill it instantly. I want to be...
Like, if I, like, okay, this is gonna sound so weird. My dad would get stressed the fuck out from work, and he would sit the same way when he was talking to my mom about something that he did not feel like talking about. Like, you could already tell there was gonna be an argument because my dad walked in the room with a bad mood, even if my mom was like pancakes or waffles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I can just feel it.
To be clear here, in this video he tries his best to appear level-headed, professional even, echoing the genius that you first saw in his YouTube shorts at the end of 2023. But on his stream, oh my god, this guy was a mess.
Yeah, I just feel like you could tell he's emotionally heated, so like, why not just come back later, right? Why not write down all your grief, sleep on it, come back the next day, and then talk about it.
These are the very nice things he had to say about this initiative. Watch.
Shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not
like, what's weird is he edited a whole video. Like, this isn't even clipped out of context. This is part of his own video. So this means that he saw this, edited the video, and didn't think, man, I sound shook. I'm shooketh. I sound upsetty and the spaghetti. And like, maybe I'm not using my logic brain. You know what I'm saying? Like...
Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass.
Like, how do you have that? And my criticism, Your Honor, and my plea is eat my entire ass. Like, yes, write that one down. Yes, that is definitely something we were not aware of. The eating the entire of the ass is definitely a problem that we need to reconsider about the initiative.
The level of stupid
bailiff, eat his entire ass
that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This.
No, yeah, according to him, this is the worst thing that's ever been made by humanity. Like, this is like, oh my god, you'd think that this is actually gonna end gaming as we know it, but it's not. It's
bro.
To do the opposite.
Shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is...
I know, there's a lot of butthole mention. There's a lot of booty hole in here. Like, when he gets upset, it's all about the ass.
Complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then.
It's another ass insult. And it's not even just like, I just really wonder why it's eat his ass. Why does it gotta be eat his entire ass? Like, was it only gonna be a portion?
I dropped the mask entirely.
In his very professional...
What mask did you even have on? What do you mean you dropped the mask entirely?
Professionally level-headed video, he says this.
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so that our medium doesn't die out.
But that's exactly what Stop Killing Games wants to do. The whole point...
Yeah, see, this is what I mean, is that, like, there is clearly... Okay, the one common denominator he has as well is not being able to be proven wrong. And, you know, is the fact that he... How do I explain? It's always for something self-motivated that he is heated over something. Like, so the reason I feel like he's jumped on this in the first place is because there is something that will hit him directly. Because I've never seen him care about anyone but himself.
The point of this initiative is for this medium to not die by allowing so many games to become lost media. And yet...
Yeah, so like my problem is what he's saying here, I feel like is is what he feels like is the correct opinion to have, because there's a real one that he's not saying. And so I want to know, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I hear this, I'm like, what is the actual motive? Because, like, yeah, that sounds good on the eardrums, but that's clearly not why you like this, because the thing that you're talking about is the exact thing that the other person is trying to fight for. So what is it?
Yet, this is what Pirate Software was saying about this whole thing.
I think live service games getting sunsetted is fine. I've always thought that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, at this point, just no comment. When he would start receiving quite a bit of backlash, of course, now there's more
Holy
dislikes, but when it first released, I'd say 30% of the like to dislike ratio was dislikes. He made this pinned comment outlining some points.
Oh no! He's got to stop doing that. Somebody in his community that he admires has got to just sit him aside and be like, listen, reading comprehension is dead. Like, it doesn't matter who's your best friend or people who could, and I quote, eat your entire ass. Nobody's reading, all right? Your entire content is YouTube Shorts. You capitalize. You've gotten your notoriety from understanding how to put things in a short format that was easily digestible and understandable by large masses. And then when you get mad, you do this. Like, whoa.
Points that don't really help his very aggressive reaction that came out of nowhere, and then ended it with a quotation saying he won't even talk to Ross, who is the founder of Stop Killing Games. To which he replied with, correct. I think his position is disingenuous due to his comments about how this could be pushed through government. It's a bad direction, removes validity for what the initiative is trying to do, portrays the process in an incorrect manner, and just builds sensationalism. Thinking that kind of language is okay puts him squarely on my not worth it to talk to list, as there are others that could have a more productive conversation. So what he's talking about is,
bro, you gotta stop writing the Google Doc. Nobody wants to read it.
This slide here. This one slide in the entirety of this initiative is,
why did he make a video where he says eat his entire ass, this is shit, but he doesn't make a video when he's being well spoken in the comment section? Like, why did he put this in the video that he wrote down? Why did he only
is the only reason why he refuses to talk to Ross. It says, reasons the European Citizens Initiative could pass. Politicians like easy wins. Politicians mostly don't care about video games. The law is already unclear on this practice. The initiative is in line with other consumer policies. It's a diversion from more serious topics. Now,
yes, I know it's from stream, but like, he made this video. This is his video we're watching. Yes, a part of it is from his live stream, but he literally took this section of stream and decided to upload it. Like, on his official channel, though. He was like, man, I need to include that part that includes eat my entire ass.
According to Ross, this was a half-truth, half-joke slide. And I think that's how a normal person would view it. I don't think it was tone-deaf in any way. But it angered the hell out of Pirate Software for some reason. I don't know why. Some people theorize that it's because he got close to Ludwig, and together they founded the games publisher Off-Brand Games. When the Stop Killing Games initiative came out, they were in the process of releasing a live service multiplayer game. So there was definitely some sort of a conflict of interest here. Regardless, this European Citizens Initiative had a one-year deadline. It would be automatically closed on the 31st of July, 2025. Yep. And by the end of June, it barely had 500,000 signatures, which meant it had no hope of ever reaching 1 million, or so it seemed. This was until Accursed Farms, the channel owned by Ross Scott, would release a video titled The End of Stop Killing Games. It's an hour-long video that kind of reminds us what this initiative is about, how we got here, the feedback and criticism he's received, the changes he's made, and of course the majority of the video is him responding to Pirate Software's very aggressive criticisms.
Yeah. So a long while later, he was finally like, man, the most I've heard people talk about this is in regards to the one person who completely disowns, like completely discredits all of my opinions and like misrepresents it as a whole. That would suck.
Most of the clips of Pirate Software crashing out over the Stop Killing Games initiative were actually from this video. Ross addresses every single one and ended up, whether intentional or not, making Pirate Software look like a clown who had no idea what he was talking about. This video almost has 1 million views, and many people watched it. Some of those people happened to be way bigger content creators than Pirate Software, and seeing that this very important initiative was very close to failure, tried their best to bring as many people as possible to sign it. For example, Moist Critical talked about it in his videos at over 3.5 million views. Hell, even Jacksepticeye talked about it on his second channel, and the video's sitting at over 1 million views.
Yeah. So I feel like Accursed Farms was trying to approach this in the best way possible and just avoid the drama. And then he had to say, like, I kind of got to say something now because it is something I can't ignore, right? That, like, the largest cover of this has been from the negativity that Pirate has given it from being a very large creator, so his voice is louder. And then also combined with the fact that the other time it was mentioned in a large capacity was Asmund talking about the criticism it received, right?
Hell, even Jacksepticeye talked about it on his second channel, and the video's sitting at over 1 million views. People understood that this initiative wasn't just a good thing for video games, it was integral to ensure its survival for the future. Hell, even Minecraft creator Notch had something to say about it, tweeting, "Hey guys, just got back to gaming after a brief break. Wait, why is there a Nepo baby doubling down over there?" Adding, "If buying a game is not..."
That always happens. Hey guys, I took a break. Hopefully nothing weird happened on the internet. What the f is this? Every time.
...a purchase, then pirating them is not theft. This truly solidified the position of Pirate Software in the Hall of Fame of lolcows. It was undeniable at this point. His stupidity had made an entire movement succeed, just purely on the basis of him being so unaware of what was going on. He lacked the most basic form of self-awareness. And thanks to that, the Stop Killing Games initiative not only reached 1 million signatures, but is currently at over 1.3 million in overdrive. About to reach 1.4 million any time now. With the UK...
Yeah, it's great. I'm really glad this worked. But it's undeniable that unironically it may not have, were it not for Pirate.
...petition reaching double the signatures required. He even had a vice president of the European Parliament voicing support for this initiative and signing the petition himself while urging other Europeans to do the same. This initiative gained so much traction that a publisher group full of the biggest publishers on the planet, including EA and Ubisoft for example, responded saying that these proposals would curtail developer choice and that it was unsustainable and unfeasible. In other words, they were very scared that this could actually pass. Being a gamer myself, I wish this initiative the best of luck in Parliament, and I truly hope it passes. When I buy a digital game, I'd like to know that I actually own it and that it won't be taken away from me at any given moment. But while this initiative was gaining a lot of positive attention, Pirate Software, on the other hand, was gaining all the negative attention. He's currently bleeding over 10,000 subscribers daily on his YouTube channel and has currently lost a massive chunk of his viewership on Twitch. I mean, look at these numbers. He used to peak 15,000 concurrent viewers and is now down to 5.
All right, let me look at this with a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
And has currently lost
January of 2025. Yeah, so some of his climb was very much due to COVID, but this fall off is very steep. Yeah, so the combination of his build up during COVID and then January being OnlyFans, I will say that I think he probably would have fell off at least a little bit from the fact that OnlyFans stopped, right?
Currently lost a massive chunk of his viewership on Twitch. I mean, look at these numbers. He used to peak 15,000 concurrent viewers and is now down to 5,000. That's
all right, but I do think you guys have a good point, right? I think that it's the combination of the fact that people view him in a different light and also the fact that OnlyFans was so big and because it fell off, he was going to have a drop off either way, but now it's like twice as steep, right? I think it's a combination.
It's 1/3 of where he used to be 7 months ago. And that's without mentioning all the followers he's been losing. I mean, look at this, minus 50,000 just in July. Additionally, this renewed scrutiny has prompted many YouTubers like Coding Jesus and Slop News Network to analyze the code that he writes on stream, concluding that a child, a literal toddler, can probably do a better job. Seriously, this is the gift that keeps on giving. Because, of course, instead of just apologizing, taking a step back, taking the L for once, admitting you made a mistake, maybe taking some advice that Dr. K gave you, he would triple down or quadruple down, I guess I can't even keep track at this point, and make this post, saying the most interesting narrative is that my video somehow killed the initiative. This graph shows that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to—
Yes, but then when it was highlighted yes, he's right, except for the fact that I think a lot of people were kind of not viewing it either way. But then what happened was, right, I feel like it was irrelevant until maybe, and this is just my guess, maybe I'm wrong again, right? But until he came out with a video on his own channel saying it was hurting the initiative. And then, you know, Asmongold came across it first, I think, covering that. And then other creators were like, oh man, that's not good, right? Like they saw it as a net positive and then felt the need to cover it, knowing that the only coverage it was getting was negative, even if it wasn't doing much in either direction, right?
To have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did though. Best of luck with your next steps. So at this point, I can't help but be impressed how much he's willing to die on hills that don't matter. People aren't even tracking cumulative signatures and daily signatures. They just understood that this initiative is worth fighting for. It's very important for the longevity of games.
Yeah, I was going to say the downward trend is actually the lack of visibility it had. But then having somebody trying to do the right thing that even prefaces that he didn't want to you know, be in any sort of drama and only cared about pushing an initiative that would help gamers is something a lot of people can resonate with, right? And so when people gave that a voice, it resonated with a lot of people, which got in front of a lot of new eyes, and a lot of people liked what he had to say. So he's right. He actually helped the movement, you know, after a while.
As a medium, and that you, with your massive platform, not only criticized it very aggressively, thinking that this was going to be an easy win that made you out to be a genius, but
I was trying to make a funny out of like an insult he said being a W, and it didn't work.
Urged all your audience, all your strong community to not sign it when they were telling you to sign it initially. That's how you even found out about the initiative.
Yep.
You would then later tweet this, saying, I am no longer working at Off-Brand Games. People were attacking all of the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. Learned a lot there, accomplished a lot, hope they succeed regardless, love those dudes and loved working with them, hope they keep cooking.
Obviously, it's not good to attack other people associated with the games, right? They couldn't have anticipated that this would happen. But what sucks is I do feel like he has some partial blame, right? It's like when you are acting on behalf of a game, of a group of people, your voice now matters with the perspective that you are now selling something. It's kind of like Snow White, like the movie Snow White. It's like people found out what type of a person she was. And that completely ruined the movie. It's like you are selling a product. So if you have very harsh, controversial ideas, it's probably going to hurt that product and the people making it. You know what I mean? Now, it's not fair to them. Like, these people couldn't have anticipated that. Like, so it's absolutely, and it is unhinged and messed up. Like, nobody should be attacking the other people working on those games. They didn't do that. They didn't know that was going to happen, right? Nobody's saying that's okay. This is the problem with thinking only about yourself, right? Like, it's so weird how, like, okay, it's so weird how WoW and, like, what happened there was, like, foreshadowing or, like, a metaphor for other things. It's like him acting with disregard and him acting with the only benefit of himself, like, unironically hurts the people around him. And this is happening again in this context, like, this context as well. He's looking only in front of himself and not to the people around him. You know what I mean? And they are hit as a result of what he's doing.
Ludwig would reply to this, saying, Stop Killing Games is a good initiative, but a few bad actors review bombed / harassed developers of the games we support at Off-Brand Games.
Yeah, that is sad. You should not harass the developers of a game, especially the people who had no idea this was going to happen.
Appreciate Thor stepping down for the betterment of the devs and their games, to which he would get community noted. The note said, Rivals of Either 2 has not been review bombed. Verifying this is as easy as opening the Steam page and looking at the graph of reviews.
Oh, is that true?
And if we go to the game, scroll down, and look at the graph that shows review trends, we can very clearly see that there's no review bombing going on. If anything,
that's not good. My guess is that they were reading maybe the reviews and seeing some really harsh ones or some vitriolic ones maybe. Even though they don't represent everyone, right?
There's positive bombing. Look at all these positive reviews in June.
Yeah, there's 159 positive reviews.
But hey, anything to be the victim, right? In fact, the guy became such
Yeah, that doesn't look good. Like either they're overthinking, like they're getting kind of one-guyed or they're saying this because it makes them look better, right? It doesn't look good.
A victim that I think he started losing his mind. He started comparing his current situation with the Stop Killing Games initiative to Coney 2012.
Oh yeah, doesn't Valve also have a system in place that throw out massive review bombs ever since Firewatch? So I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point.
Dude, no, I'm sorry. This is a full-fledged, fully developed and evolved lolcow. There's no way you can say this while being self-aware. It's impossible. And after months of complaining about people brigading and harassing him, he does the same exact thing to Coding Jesus. He would leave a comment on his code review video and would then link his comment to his chat so that they can go upvote it in an effort to ratio the video itself. Like, how petty is that? Come on, man.
See, I don't like this behavior. Like, people who do this in order to win, like the end goal of this, and I don't want to use any names, but it's happened in other situations where people they'll see somebody who has a criticism about them or has a different opinion, and they will essentially try to dogpile like the opinion or make it look like their opinion matters more. Like, it's all about winning. It's like a PvP match, and it shouldn't be.
Do you make a link to it? You have to click on the little 6 hours edited. Aha! So that doesn't seem to do it? Oh, do I have to right-click on this and then copy link address? And then do that? Is that what does this? Ah, it does highlighted comment. There we go. Boop. There's my comment on it. Enjoy.
Bro, so he's literally... I've never heard of this before. Wait, so is this a Twitter post that he's trying to get the ratio win on? He's trying to ratio the video by... Oh my... Okay, he has to realize what this does, right? Him brigading for a negative point on somebody's video might as well be getting his community to visit the video and downvote it, right? Which could indirectly lead to his video getting reported and stuff like that. Like, he has to know this. He's trying to get the comment to have more likes than the video, yes. So it looks like this guy has the wrong opinion. Like, this is bad. Like, if you, like, okay, I could totally see if he made a counter video to his claims and addressed them, and then he gives his chat the highlighted link, right, to his own video addressing the criticism that this guy made. That's totally fine. But just making a comment and then doing this, it directly incentivizes, like, more... Like, he's putting making a fire directly near on the person's video directly, and that's what I don't like about it.
I also have a whole argument with a whole bunch of people and the replies in there so they can see what's going on with it. I talked to them through the entire thing of why I did that all in an array, because that is not normal practice to do that, and it's specifically so that you guys can reverse engineer the game and solve the ARG.
Then why don't you make an address on it? Because then you could teach people, so you could explain to people so people can learn from two different perspectives of, you know, what you did with coding versus what he did, and they can make their own conclusion. Like, there's no moral good in just saying, like, your opinion as a comment and then having everybody go to it. Like, it just leads to unkindness. It doesn't lead to any learning or discussion. And so, like, when people do this, I just feel like it's for no other purpose than shit on them.
Sometimes doing bad practice has meaning, which is...
Whatever, man. He later deleted this VOD because this literally breaks YouTube TOS. This breaks every aspect of terms of service when it comes to brigading and harassment.
Oh, yeah, it does technically. Yeah, this is considered brigading by YouTube's TOS. I forgot. Because I would never do something like that.
I mean, at this point, can this get any worse? Yes. He'd be asked about his opinion when it comes to Stop Killing Games finally reaching 1 million signatures, and he said, "I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything that you asked for, but nothing you wanted, and I'll leave it there." See, if I
See, this is the last I heard about it. I'm like, why do you say that? Like, I get not wanting to talk about it, I guess. It's like, but like, why you have to do that? Why you do that?
I was 12 years old, I would have probably thought this was really cool, but now it's just...
Yeah, that's so true. As a 14-year-old, I would have added that to, like, my list of bangers. I would have been like, damn, like, if I'm ever mad at somebody and they're doing better than me, I'm gonna be like, I hope that your thing is everything you asked for, but nothing you ever wanted. And then I would have walked away and been like, man, I'm hashtag deep right now. Mic drop.
Edgy beyond cringe. But listen, as
I would have thought that was so cool during my edgy arc. I would have been like, damn, I'm cooking.
Much as this was a ridiculous roller coaster ride on the Lolcow Express, someone did end up asking him, "Hey man, would you consider making an apology video, setting everything straight? Because you know what? This is still salvageable. You can still redeem yourself. And here's what he had to say.
I mean, yeah, he is in the public spotlight, right? So if he does apologize, more people will hear it than ever.
A video saying you were wrong with every situation and the internet move on. I am not doing that. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, simply bend the knee and lie about how you feel, and everyone will stop bullying you. That's a great idea, dude. Yeah, no, eat shit.
It's always about like why can't it be like eat a dick? It's always eat shit and eat entire ass.
This guy is so hopeless, man. Now, I will say this because I'm sure this will appear in the comments. Yes, I'm aware that Pirate Software is a massive furry, and I'm also aware that he was legally married to someone, and during that marriage, he got in contact with one of the Kickstarter backers of Earthbound, the game he's working on, and started a very inappropriate 18+ relationship with them.
What? Excuse me? What do you mean you're mentioning that in the last 2 minutes of your video? What?
Being married. Yes, he committed adultery. The reason why I didn't mention this in the video is because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If he had just apologized during the WoW Classic incident, this coming out wouldn't have done anything to him, because guess what? Most of these messages involved 18+ roleplay, but more specifically, furry roleplay. Yes, they would literally say to themselves, pets you, nuzzles you, plays with your tail, and then
all right, maybe he was a furry. Maybe I was wrong there.
Get, more 18+ into it. Yes, most people couldn't even read one page of chat logs because of how cringy it is. So
yeah, I am with him here. Even though it's cringe and funny to think about, it's a nothing burger, right? 2 consenting adults being cringe doesn't hurt anyone.
so convinced it wouldn't have done anything to his reputation. It's meaningless to talk about. But if you're interested, you can check out this video by Fearful Tears titled Pirate Software, the Most Delusional Twitch Streamer. Look, Pirate Software is a lesson not just in content creation, but in quite literally anything. Normal people make mistakes, and geniuses make mistakes too. We're all human. Admitting that you make a mistake isn't you admitting that you have a weakness. No, on the contrary, never admitting that you're wrong is a weakness in itself because it shows how insecure you are.
Yeah, I agree. Like when I see this, I think of somebody who is extremely egotistical, who cannot be wrong.
Fragile of an ego you have, and it'll only make people want to avoid you. I mean, what's the point?
Well, yeah, because if you see this, you could tell that he would throw you under the bus, and anybody, you know what I mean?
Software is the stupid person's definition of a genius, and he managed to ride that wave for a little while. But now the party's over, and he only has himself to blame. He'll still be a content creator, he'll still have a sizable audience, but he'll never be able to touch the sky like he did at the end of 2023. And they're never coming back unless he finally humbles his dumbass. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the entire video up until the end. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.
This was a very good video.
Soon. Yeah, I love you so much. Mwah.
Yeah, that was great. So yeah, my takeaway, I guess, is that yeah, some of the points I disagreed with or I thought were kind of not really relevant, or like for example, the what do you call it? Where he had his credentials or whatever online. It's like a lot of people oversell themselves on like those types of sites, right? I don't feel like that part really matters. Or it like indicates that somehow like I don't know, he's like a worse person, right? I do feel like some of them were nothing burgers or like we could have gone without entirely. But I agree with the takeaway, right? Which is that like he dies on a lot of hills he doesn't need to over having an ego. And like that's the ultimate problem, right? Yeah, hearing all about like all of the things that people are talking about is good, so that way you can make your own informed decisions. And I think Mujin is very good at this, more than other people who cover drama.